Good evening, all of you. We welcome to this fantastic webinar organized by an ophthalmic organization on a non-ophthalmic topic. The topic is the current hot topic all over the world, the present corona pandemic. The webinar itself is called as part 2 because we have covered one weapon in our armamentarium, that is the use of ultraviolet light in vivo and in vitro. In May, we conducted a big international webinar on use of ultraviolet light in the management of webinar. This was Dr. Jagdeep Kakria shared his rich experience how UV light can be used. But now there are so many newer weapons in armamentarium in the management of corona. So this webinar we are calling as a Crusade against Corona Part 2. So before we proceed to the webinar proper, I welcome the founder chairman of of ISM SICS, Dr. Amulya Sahu, to give his introductory remarks.
Let me welcome you all to this wonderful webinar. So far, ISM SICS has conducted around 14 webinars, and all of them have been very highly appreciated and attended. Now, this is a human interest story, and this is our second webinar on prevention of COVID. Many people don't believe, and they go for the conventional, looking for vaccine and other thing. If something cheap is available, something which has been proven efficacy is available, why have resistance? And we have with us Deepak Golwalkar, who has done a lot of research on that, and we will benefit from his experiment and experience. And we have a innovator par excellence, a very honest person, Jagdeep Kakria. He is an innovator par excellence and a very spiritually inclined person. So when he says something, we have to believe in him, because he never does things to earn money or any commercial interest back of his mind. So with this, I just want that anybody other than the medical profession is listening to it must get benefit out of it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sahu. We have with us the Central Office Bearers of ISM SICS. Dr. Amulya Sahu is the founder chairman of International Society of Manual Small Incision Cataract Surgeons. I, Dr. Jagannath Boramani, I am the chairman of ISM SICS. We will be soon joined with the vice chairman, Dr. Parikshit Gopte, as well as the chief national coordinator, Dr. Satanshu Mathur. They will be joining soon. We have with us the president of ISM SICS, Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya, and the secretary of ISM SICS, Dr. Srinivas Joshi. Before we start the webinar proper, I request Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya to give his presidential remarks as well as share some of his statistical experience with the corona pandemic. Dr. Debashish, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Boramani. It has been a very challenging experience going through the COVID for all of us, because on one side, we had to protect ourselves, our staff, and our patients from COVID. At the same time, we had to prevent needless blindness. Obviously, our patients mainly belong to the above 60 category and the high-risk group of COVID. So naturally, they are more susceptible. We have tried out a lot of things, a lot of protocols have been followed, and happily, though I think things are getting or falling a little on track, today we have this interesting webinar from one of our very senior members, Dr. Jagdeep, and Dr. Jagdeep is an innovator par excellence, and we are very eager to look forward to him. As you know that I head the Disha Eye Hospitals group, where we see 15 lakh patients and operate around a lakh of patients every year. But what is the situation on the ground this year, and what is the condition of the health staff? So I just wanted to share 2 slides with you. The first one is about the stats, like in the cataract we have, this is from April to September. we have a 61% drop. Corneal injuries, well, we supported a lot of it, but still there was a drop. People can't travel. Corneal transplants saw the biggest drop, though we are slowly inching back, and our eye bank, which is the third largest eye bank, has started functioning, and we are doing about 50 to 60 keratoplasties for the last 2-3 months. So you can see, I mean, every overall drop in the services has been as much as 45%, whereas, retina injections, vitrectomies, the drop were significantly less compared to the other subspecialties. And so this is a backlog, and a backlog of needless blindness which we have to take up and which we have to impress upon people, that we are seeing so many sad stories. Every sad story explodes every day. So we have to get back to the new normal and start working. We did a lot of things, and we will be discussing that around the like this germ kill. We give this ultraviolet chamber to every staff and every doctor. But in spite of all this, I mean, this serology of IgG, IgM was done for all our staff and doctors. However, the percentage of doctors being seropositive is less than 2%. And the 2 doctors who got it actually had the COVID symptoms also. But you find that some of the centers, like our Behala center, was 45%, they are positive. And this serology was done in July 15th to July 20th. So it reflects a serology about 3 months back, which reflects a seropositivity at the end of July. So this is the picture in West Bengal at least. And so with these words, I think we go ahead and go to the interesting part of today's discussion, which I find will be very captivating. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Devashish sir, for that small brief introduction to the topic. I welcome all the panelists first. We have with us Professor Namrata Sharma, who is the Secretary of All India Ophthalmological Society. I think she'll be joining soon. She had already joined, but she'll be joining soon. And we have got various panelists from India and abroad. We have with us Dr. Prakash Marathe, who is the chairman of ISM SICS, State of Maharashtra. He is a past president of MOS, past president of Pune Ophthalmical Society, past president of Indian Medical Association Pune, and he is associated actively with various projects of AIOS as well as IMA in different parts of the country. We have with us Dr. Purendra Bhasin, who is the chairman of ISM SICS MP chapter. He's from Gwalior. We also have with us Dr. Inder Mohan Rastogi, who is the general secretary of ISM SICS Haryana chapter. Will be soon joining with Dr. Sabyasachi Patnaik. He is a research-oriented ophthalmologist, and he is the president of ISM SICS Odisha chapter. He is also additional director of Health Services, Government of Odisha. And we have with us a young ophthalmologist, Dr. Satish Shet from KIMS Hubli. He has done a lot of charitable work in many charitable institutes in the past, and he is best known for his awards for various papers in various conferences. He has got the Innovation Award in ISM SICS conferences twice, and he is a techno-savvy ophthalmologist and is manufacturing various devices for cameras and recording systems. And in this present pandemic, he has started manufacturing various UV devices. We also will be having with us Dr. Rakesh Kalathia from Surat and Dr. Vishnu Patel from Mehsana. They have got tremendous experiences in treating the COVID patients. In fact, they have prevented admission of the COVID patients only with the treatment of Methylene Blue. Dr. Vishnu Patel's son, Dr. Nihar, also is a pulmonologist. He also will be joining soon when we start our discussion. Then we have with us faculty from abroad, outside India. Dr. Danson Mutsuvelu is a senior consultant ophthalmic surgeon affiliated to Aarhus University Hospital, Denmark. Welcome, Dr. Muthuelu. He is an excellent teacher associated with a lot of social work and is the chairman of ISM SICS Denmark. We also have with us Dr. Andika Prahasta from Bandung, Indonesia. He is the head of Department of Glaucoma. He has received outstanding contribution to manual SICS and Istiantaro Award for development of educational programs in eye surgery techniques. He is the chairman of ISM SICS Indonesia. We will be soon joined with Dr. Miguel Sarabia from Philippines. He is the chairman of ISM SICS Philippines. We also have with us Dr. Carla Pamela Gonzalez Daher. She is the chairperson of ISM SICS Mexico, and she is associated with MSICS training of Orbis International as well as SEE. Professor Dato Veera Ramani from Malaysia will be soon joining this panel. She is the chief of Tun Hussein On National Eye Hospital, Petaling Jaya. She is the chairperson of ISM SICS Malaysia, and she is the first person who was who held our first international conference in Malaysia. It's for a three days conference. So with the introduction of these panelists, let me move on to the experts as well as the speaker of today. Can I share my slide, please? Yeah, can you see my this? Can you see my this thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our main speaker today is Dr. Jagdeep Kakadia. Yeah, he is eye surgeon from Bhavnagar, Gujarat, India since 1988, and he is into solo private practice. For last 32 years, he has done more than 60,000 anterior segment eye surgeries, and he has many medical, surgical, intraocular lens related and instrument related researches done. He is not only eye surgeon, he is also an advocate. He is LLB. He is also an engineer. He has done diploma in radio engineering, and very recently he has obtained PhD in UV physics. This is his eye hospital in Bhavnagar. All of us are using ophthalmic chair unit, the Indian chair units manufactured by various companies, but the first design and the first idea was his. Way back in 1993, he got award for this innovation in All Gujarat Ophthalmical Society conference, and the Planting company first developed this chair with help of Dr. Kakadia. He is the innovator of OmniGlow. It is an externally attachable stereo coaxial device which converts any simple surgical microscope into a Lumira 700 like full and homogeneous red glow, enhanced stereopsis and excellent phase contrast at a fraction of a cost. So this is a very cheap device, and you can convert your simple microscope into an advanced microscope which will give a uniform glow. Now this is a big invention by him. He has made his homemade examiner lasers for refractive surgeries, and for LASIK and LASIK he has prepared 2 units, and since 2004 and 2008 he has been operating on these machines only. With the help of Professor Faro Eye Institute and Dr. Boris Maligun, he has been instrumental in development of Rakot Russian laser for cataract surgery, which can melt the cataract as if it's a piece of wax, and no emulsification is required, but simple melting is required. With help of and guidance from Dr. Shigeru and Dr. Ramesha, he has developed a unique system of rho kinase eye drops. Now these eye drops are used in cases of endothelial decompensation, and they can treat or reverse the pseudophakic bullous keratopathy. So this is called as chemical corneal grafting. With help of Dr. Dharmesha and Dr. Pankaj from Amravati, Dr. Kakadia has developed, and with Dr. R.C. Shah, he has developed a very compact pen-shaped corneal tattooing device. This device is used for tattooing of the cornea, and it's an OPD procedure. With Alexander Smolin of Moscow, he has developed an UV device, ultraviolet device, which can kill all viruses from nose, throat and ears and paranasal sinuses in 4 seconds, including coronavirus, and this device has been named as Coronash. With Dr. R.C. Shah Mumbai and Dr. Satish Shet Hubli, he has developed a unique intraocular lens. This is very interesting development because this is probably the first lens in the world which looks like a monofocal lens, but it's a progressive lens. So without the rings of multifocal, like a multifocal IOLs, this can give multifocality to a patient which is free from negative dysphotopsia as well as from positive dysphotopsia. Dr. Kakade, I would like to request to say a few things when you finish your talk on melanin, on this, especially the physics of this lens, maybe a few slides. And Dr. Kakade has published 4 to 5 books in Gujarati. He is a very good writer, and there are so many books lined up now, especially in the pandemic. He's writing so much, and these are his future publications. Now, from the same town, Bhavnagar, we have an eminent pulmonologist, Dr. Deepak Golwalkar. In fact, now this is a pioneering work on methylene blue by Dr. Deepak Golwalkar. He is into solo private practitioner in Bhavnagar, practicing for last 42 years. And he has treated over 10,000 patients of tuberculosis, and he has got a very rich experience in treating many patients with methylene blue since 2009 onwards. Now, in the corona pandemic also, he has treated more than 2,000 patients only with methylene blue nebulizer as well as the sublingual administration of methylene blue. And he has prevented at least 600 patients from going into the ICU or into ventilator stage. And he has treated a 93-year-old aged mother of a minister, Lotus leader from Gujarat. I think today only he has got compliments from many ministers. Union Agricultural Minister Sri Purushottam Rupala, his mother was treated by Dr. Golwalkar. Even Gujarat Health Minister Nitinbhai Patel was treated by him, and so many personnel in the Prime Minister's security also has been treated by him. So most of the patients are treated by on OPD basis, and they have been prevented from going into the Corona unit or the Corona ICU unit. So today's topic is mainly on the methylene, and we'll be very happy to share the rich experience by Dr. Golwalkar. We have also with us another expert, innovator, Dr. Ramesh Shah from Mumbai. He is a leading eye surgeon in Borivali, Mumbai. He is a cataract and LASIK expert, high volume eye surgeon. He has done thousands of surgery, and he has got very rich experience in a lot of innovations and medical research, especially in intraocular lenses, its topography. He has a lot of research, and the most important thing is that he is a stock market wizard. Now, as far as the stock market expertise is concerned, we maybe will have a webinar with him. He can keep talking for hours together, and that might be a very useful webinar to all of us. So we want to declare that all the opinions, treatment modalities discussed in the webinars are speakers' own. It has been based on their very rich experience in the field of corona. So whatever treatment modalities that they discuss are their own. And this is a closed group of meant for the doctors, and this will create a lot of brainstorming over the doctor community. And all these treatment modalities are very cheap one, they're not very costly one. So with this introduction, now let me invite Dr. Jagdeep Kakadia to start his first talk on in blue.
Satish, please switch on your mic.
Language is everyone.
Satish, please switch
Language
on.
is that?
Yes, sir.
Konkani?
Dr. Satish, please mute yourself. Mute that right button. Read button.
Mobile.
Click it. Yeah, that's it.
Good evening, everybody from India, and good morning, good afternoon for all the other countries. At the outset of this talk, I thank Dr. Boramani and Dr. Amulya Sahu for inviting me to this prestigious webinar. And I'm very happy on the behalf of to present all our research and all our work which we have done on methylene blue on behalf of Dr. Deepak Golwalkar from Bhavnagar and Dr. Ramesh Shah from Bombay, Maharashtra. What I'm speaking is on the joint behalf of three of us. And I would like to declare that we have no financial interest. Also, we are not advocating or soliciting anything or anybody's faith. We are just describing what we have learned and done during our research in our hospital, in our families, in our home, and our close friends and friends' families. We are not giving any prescription. All of you are requested to do your own Google and literature search There are ample evidences, more than 5,200 papers available on methylene blue's various potencies. Let your own conscience and conscience be your best guide. And I request you all to listen about methylene blue without prejudice, with open-minded to embrace it. And before I begin my talk, I want to thank all of you for your patient listening. This talk is going to be long. Methylene blue has 135 years of history, so even if I dedicate 1 or 2 slides for every year, it's going to be a 200 slides presentation. And the moderators will have full right to interrupt me wherever they feel like. If you want to ask any question, if you want to cut down me. Let me begin with this quote from Mahatma Gandhi. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. And Vaishnav Jando Tenere Kahiye Je Peed Parai Jhane Re, Par Dukhe Upkar Kare, Par Man Abhiman Na Aane Re. Methylene blue has root in India. In India, indigo, a vegetable dye, was being cultivated under the British rule, and because this dye was spoiling the soil of Bengal and Bihar, there was a revolt against the British authorities, which is very famous, known in India as Neel Vidroh or as Indigo Revolt. Even the name indigo itself of this dye was from India. It was going to Europe for the fabric coloring in Europe. So because of this revolt and rebellion, the methylene, the blue dye indigo became so expensive in Europe that European scientists had to start searching a way of synthesizing methylene blue. And Heinrich Caro from Germany in 1876 first made synthetic indigo in the name of methylene blue. And he is also considered as father of the modern chemical industry. He is Dr. Albert von Mostig, who was professor and head of general surgery at University of Vienna. He was also a surgeon of the Austrian army. He is the inventor of first aid kit. He is the inventor of tincture of iodine for war wound disinfection. He is the prime pioneer of intramuscular injection of methylene blue in 1877, just 1 year after the invention or synthesis of methylene blue. He used methylene blue injection for the treatment of osteosarcoma of femur, and he used to use 4-gram injection intramuscular once in a week for 8 weeks in the patients of osteosarcoma of femur, and he treated more than 30 patients with 100% cure rate from 1877 to 1880. I would also like to pay my respect to Dr. Paul Ehrlich from Germany. He was first to use intravenous and oral methylene blue for the treatment of malaria. From 1881 onwards. He was first to find cure of syphilis using the same compound, first to make and use anti-diphtheria serum. He was first to demonstrate how to stain bacteria, fungi, and protozoa using methylene blue, and Zil Nielsen and Graham staining was inspired by his work. He coined the names antimicrobial chemotherapy and magic bullets, and he saved millions of lives. And in 1908, he was awarded Nobel Prize for his work on all this, and he shared the Nobel Prize with Dr. Ilya Ilyich Mechnikov from Russia, who first detected gamma globulin, innate and humoral immune system. So the work on methylene blue was recognized by the Nobel Committee as well as early as 1908, and we pay respect to him. I also would like to mention and pay respect to the first director of India's TB control program, Dr. N.L. Borodia, who was first probably in India to use methylene blue in the treatment of tuberculosis. And he is Guruji of Dr. Deepak Golwalkar, from whom Dr. Golwalkar has learned in his early days how to use methylene blue. Dr. Deepak Golwalkar has already been introduced, and I was lucky to have worked with him, teamed with him, and most of the things I'm going to describe today I have learned from him. Dr. Ramesh Shah, my very dear friend, has done a phenomenal work using ultraviolet light in treatment of corneal ulcer so bad as this with Pseudomonas. UVC 4 mJ per centimeter square given on day 1 and day 2. On day 3, the infection is completely killed. And after day 3, he starts using methylene blue eye drops, which are made from injection 0.3%. I request all the other panelists to to keep their mic muted except Dr. Burabi, because the background noise is distracting me. So using methylene blue eye drops for next 4 days as QID eye drops, and you can see that the infection gets cleared. Not only that, the fibrosis of the cornea also starts getting clear as much as this. And you can see that methylene blue is going into the lymphatic vessels and the ghost vessels of the cornea from the conjunctiva and helping to clear out the starting of the cornea in day 7. So from this infection with UV light and methylene blue to this just in day 7 is an excellent treatment which has been pioneered by Dr. Meshan. And I have been asked by so many people, so many doctors, that is methylene blue dye? How you use dye as a medication. Now I request all of you to search Wikipedia, and if you read on Wikipedia, it is mentioned that methylene blue is medication first and dye next. And it is mainly used to treat methylene, that is the condition which we get in the COVID patients. And it is typically given by injection into a vein. So methylene blue is being used as intravenous since last 135. It's not new. It's only that our knowledge is old. And methylene blue has 17 different indication actions and indications. It's a wonder molecule of 1.3 centuries research. It is an extremely good antiviral, antifungal, and antibacterial, anti-Parkinson, anti-aging, and anti-cancer. Each of these properties very soon. Now, on 30th March 2020, this excellent study got published from University of Florence from Italy in the mid of the severe pandemic occurring over there. And they studied 6,000 patients cohort. And they found that out of these 6,000 patients, those patients who were having prostatic carcinoma or CA breast or carcinoma of bladder, in these 3 carcinomas, methylene blue is a part of the chemotherapy. So 2,500 patients who were having methylene blue as a part of their chemotherapy, none of those patients developed COVID in 3.5 months' time. Whereas the remaining patients who were not having methylene blue as a part of their chemotherapy, cancer chemotherapy, of those, about 14 to 15% of patients developed COVID. So this report gave us a very sound indication and evidence that COVID as early as 30th of March. And Dr. Golwalkar has been using it since 2009, 2008 for multi-drug and extreme drug resistant tuberculosis. He used methylene blue for more than 300 patients of swine flu from 2009 to 2014. So he already was prepared with all the data and information. So he started using methylene blue for COVID also and started getting extremely good results. Bhavnagar is a city of 6.6 million population in India. We are located here. And Bhavnagar district's rural population is 23 lakhs. So we got total 29 lakhs, 2.9 million population. We have 3,000 plus doctors in the district who are from allopathic and Ayush, that is Ayurvedic and Indian homeopathic system of medicine, and 20,000 plus nursing and paramedical staff. You will be happy to know that in the last 8 months, not a single doctor death has occurred in Bhavnagar district. Not a single paramedical staff death has occurred in Bhavnagar district, and out of 3,000, only about 50 doctors became COVID positive and only 5 or 6 needed ICU admission, and they all recovered. So we have a zero mortality of doctors in our district of 29 million population. Another notable thing is that Bhavnagar police force, after we tied up with them using methylene blue and UV light for their protection of the constables who were on COVID duty in the red zone areas, not a single death occurred out of about 3,000 police force, and only very few constables came positive. And Bhavnagar, 1.9 million population in district, we were getting 60 to 80 COVID cases per day in late August and early September 2020. But after widespread use of methylene blue by the public in Bhavnagar, today our case, I'm sorry, today our cases have come down 18 to 20 in early October. ICU beds are mostly empty, and there were some plans by some corporate groups to convert entire 3 or 4-star hotels into COVID ICU. They have been cancelled. And we had 0 case for 15 days in June using using Methylene light. And this is yesterday's press note in Bhavnagar. If you can read Gujarati. 73% COVID beds are empty. Total 310 ICU beds, 228 are empty. Recovery rate has gone up from 57% to 93%. And from 80 positive cases per day, only 18 per day. And notable is that on Saturday we had 22 cases, and on Sunday 11th October we had only 13 cases. So there was a drop of 43% in a single day in the last weekend. And I would here like to introduce a very philanthropist advocate from Bhavnagar, Sanjay Paranjape, and his team. He has made and distributed thousands of bottles of 0.1% Methylene solution in the Bhavnagar population. He makes bottles at home from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. And before and after what hours, he and his friends team distribute Methylene in rural slum and red zone areas to prime contacts and prime contact families of positive patients. And he is a record highest time blood donor. He has donated blood for 265 times, and he is a public interest litigation fighter for general good, for social cause. I think he's going to join us in the panel discussion to describe how he has distributed Methylene in the district. And with him, our Guru, Puja Jnani Swami, and his disciples, Adarsh Swami, Nakhanbutti Swami, they also distributed more than 50,000 bottles of 0.1% Methylene blue, as a result of which we are expecting that under guidance of Dr. Golwalkar, by the day of Diwali, we are targeting that there will be 0 COVID in Bhavnagar. We are going to kick out COVID from Bhavnagar district. Absolutely. When I was in Governmental College, Baroda, I saw my colleagues, Dr. Vishnu Patel, and some of the residents and professors in medicine department who are going to join us in the panel discussion, using intravenous Methylene blue regularly for treating aniline dye poisoning, making intravenous solution. In those days, the injections were not available. So we were making Methylene blue from the dry powder and using it. And this was the result. The patient with aniline dye would come completely cyanosed, and you give Methylene blue intravenous 60 to 80 milligrams. And within 30 minutes or 40 minutes, the patient will come back to a tomato-like shine. And I would also like you all to listen to this audio, which is on YouTube. It's an 18 minutes audio posted by Dr. Sunil Garge, who is an anesthetist from Indore, from MP state of India. He himself became COVID positive and he did not recover with remdesivir or tocilizumab. And after he heard about Dr. Golwalkar is also from Indore, originally from Indore. So he heard about Dr. Golwalkar and he used Dr. Golwalkar's Methylene blue, and within a day and a half he recovered after a long span of about 18-20 days in ICU. This is an experience. I wish everybody should listen to this 18 minutes audio of his. Here I would like to bring to your notice a paper which has come up from Valeria Kaino from University of Geneva, Sweden, which has come up in publication on 14th of August, where she and her group has very categorically and clearly mentioned that Methylene blue has a potent antiviral activity against SARS-CoV-2 in the absence of UV activation also. Dr. Anil Patel is a very well-known chest physician in the city of Surat, who has used intravenous Methylene blue for treatment of COVID in over 110 cases. I'm going to share his comments also in the talk. And he is Dr. Scott Antoine from Indianapolis, USA. He is an emergency specialist intensivist, very well-reputed name in USA. And he has been using Methylene blue for the treatment of COVID in the USA. And his talk, this is 1 hour and 20 minutes lecture. This is on YouTube, a breakthrough for COVID-19 Methylene blue. Everybody must listen to Dr. Scott Antoine, profound knowledge. And I had a lucky opportunity to have an interaction with him in about 2 months back when I was in the USA. And this is his publication about the role of methylene blue in COVID, which I think we should all read in detail. This is about 16 to 17 pages, but it's worth reading. He's Ari Witten, who is a naturopathic practitioner and wellness trainer who uses methylene blue regularly for the energy boosting in all his group. And his discussion with Dr. Scott Antoine is also worth listening. It's on YouTube, 1 hour and 20 minutes video. Coming to history of methylene blue, the chemical name of methylene blue is methylthioninium chloride. So this is basically nothing but a salt of methylthioninium, a chloride salt of it. It's an phenolazothiazine dye and a very potent and equally safe medication, the chemical behavior of which is known as redox, reduction and oxidation. So it has a dual potential. It can take electrons or it can give electrons. And methylene blue is the first fully synthetic man-made drug used in allopathic and homeopathic medicine. It's still a part of the homeopathic medicine. It's in the Materia Medica of homeopathy as well as Materia Medica of allopathic textbooks. And it was used, as I said, IV per oral and topical as hermicidal in the 1940s. And till penicillin came in. It's very powerful oxidant for microbes as well as protozoa and small parasites, whereas for human cell membranes it works as an antioxidant. It enhances mitochondrial respiration, sodium ATPase pathway, and reverses methemoglobinemia in 20 to 30 minutes. And methylene blue induces massive cell death in human breast cancer, so it's a part of the chemotherapy of breast cancer, as well as it induces a selective cell death of prostate carcinoma cells. So in many cancer hospitals, methylene blue is used for the treatment of prostate cancer as well as bladder cancer also. Methylene blue is found to kill malarial parasites in record time. The aspirin malaria gets killed in less than 2 days, whereas with other drugs it takes 8 to 10 days and sometimes it doesn't get cured at all. And WHO also has a lot to say about it. If you go to WHO website and read the essential list of WHO medicine, the essential medicines are obligatory by all the member states and member nations to be kept in stock, freely available. It cannot be taxed, it cannot be made expensive, and it has to be absolutely freely available. So in that, methylene blue is considered and being listed at par with oral rehydration solution or paracetamol, and the safety of methylene blue is so much that it has been mentioned in WHO's essential list on 4.2.4 as injection of 10 milligram per ml is to be kept available in every country. This is US FDA's website, which gives an indication and the dosage and administration. If you read this, we can administer 1 milligram per kg body intravenously over 5 to 30 minutes. If methemoglobin level remains above 30% and if the clinical symptoms persist, give a repeat dose up to 1 milligram per kilogram 1 hour after the first dose. So you can give 2 injections of methylene blue on the same date as permitted by the US FDA. Methylene blue also inactivates dengue and chikungunya viruses. All RNA viruses, in fact. And this paper says that methylene blue also inactivates HIV 1 and 2, hepatitis C, Toga virus, West Nile, and Ebola virus. This paper has come up from German Red Cross. During the severe spell of the pandemic, remdesivir became almost unavailable in Bhavnagar, and it was being sold in black. So I was just trying to find an alternative, and when I was trying to find the alternative, I read a paper that remdesivir was originally designed to kill Ebola virus, and it has journeyed from Ebola to COVID-19. And then I read that methylene blue also inactivates Ebola virus. So if remdesivir can be used for COVID-19, why not methylene blue be used for COVID-19? And for during that shortage period, I inquired with Gilead Pharma, and then they sent a reply that our remdesivir is not approved anywhere globally for any use. And this is even today on Gilead Pharma's website. And then I came across one paper which has come up from Mount Sinai Cancer Institute from New York, And they have described their series of cases, and in their cases they have described in one of the cases I'm citing that on hospital day 6 he received 1 milligram per kilogram methylene blue, however demonstrated minimal response. So on hospital day 7 the patient was given 2 milligram per kilogram, another 1 milligram per kilogram on hospital day 7 and 2 milligram per kg body weight, the double dose on hospital day 8. So after giving 4 injections of methylene blue with ascorbic acid 5 milligram thrice a day oral, the patient no longer requires mechanical ventilation or dialysis. The patient was still hospitalized but came out of the crisis. So Mount Sinai Hospital in New York also is using intravenous methylene blue. So let us examine methylene blue, whether it works in COVID, and if it works, yes, how and why. And before that, I would recommend all of you to read this wonderful website, methyleneblue.net. And this website gives you 135 years of extensive research and citation of 5,236 papers on methylene blue. And methylene blue actually is the mother of quinine. Methylene blue is comprising of a group which is known as nitrobenzene. So methylene blue has double nitrobenzene ring, and chloroquine has a single nitrobenzene ring. Quinine also has a single nitrobenzene ring. So if chloroquine works, if quinine works against this virus, methylene blue has to work it twice as potently. That's from the organic chemistry point of view. And this paper has come up from Military Medical Science Academy of Beijing, China, which says about inactivation of SARS coronavirus in human plasma by methylene blue. And the paper actually came up as early as 2005. This is about SARS-CoV-1. And the paper says that there is a 6.5 log titer inactivation, means 99.99995% viruses were destroyed by using 5 micromole per liter methylene blue in 3 minutes. And the same study was repeated on SARS-CoV-2 virus, and it came up from Hangzhou University in China on 17th March, which mentions the same thing, that methylene blue can safely and effectively eliminate SARS-CoV-2 within 2 minutes, and the virus titer can decline 4.5 log, that is 99.999%. And I was a visiting lecturer at Lanzhou University of China. I was visiting Lanzhou as a lecturer quite frequently as a surgical trainer for the residents, and also as a rural consultant for some time. So I know their research in methodology. Now let us examine the mechanism of action of methylene blue. The first mechanism of action is virucidal. It kills corona and almost all other RNA viruses by bombarding electrons, by oxidation, reduction, and by electron bombarding, by bombarding nascent oxygen and hydroxyl ion on the microbes. So drug resistance to it is unlikely because nobody can stand the electron bombarding. It also has an antiviral property because it makes cellular cytoplasm and extracellular fluids into an alkaline medium, pH above 7.2, and novel coronavirus doesn't replicate in alkaline medium. It needs acidic medium. So it prevents viral growth. The same way chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine and zinc also work in the same principle. Methylene blue also reverses methemoglobinemia. It is the and only chemical treatment of methemoglobinemia reversal, and that's what happens in COVID because coronaviruses are hungry for ions, and once they are in the blood, they snatch away iron molecules from normal hemoglobin and converts the hemoglobin into methemoglobin by converting ferrous into ferric in the hemoglobin. And this is to be reversed, and the best way to reverse methemoglobinemia is methylene blue. It is also anti-inflammatory and anti-cytokine. Upon chemical contact, methylene blue instantly activates NLRP3, inflammasome, interleukin 6, TNF-alpha, that is tumor necrosis factor alpha, and it stops secretion of interleukin 1 beta and interleukin 18. These are the 5 chemicals which are produced by patients dying white blood cells, the cells which have been overwhelmed and overtaken by millions of coronaviruses. These death proteins of WBC are known as cytokines, which is the root cause of cytokine storm. And methylene blue has an extremely good action of preventing cytokine storm. It also helps to prevent intravascular coagulation by reducing thrombin, because it has an action of reducing thrombin, fibrinogen, and factor VIII levels. So the lung alveolar capillary blockage is prevented and is cleared, and hence it helps in clearing the pneumonia very rapidly. Methylene blue also prevents the viral septicemic shock by, the viral sepsis, there are three chemicals named bradykinin, nitric oxide, and cyclic GMP, which are secreted in the blood. And these hormones causes peripheral blood vessels to dilate, and the permeability of the vessels increases so much that the tissue fluid goes out to cause pulmonary edema. And then ultimately it leads to shock and multi-organ failure. And methylene blue prevents the bradykinin, nitric oxide, and cGMP pathway, and hence it prevents the septicemic shock. So if used well in time, 200 rupees, 2 injections of methylene blue are equal to 11 doses of remdesivir, 2 doses of tocilizumab, 100 tablets of favipiravir course, and heparin and all these other supportive drugs. So 400 rupees methylene blue is equivalent of 1,50,000 of the above drugs combo. And the best part of methylene blue, which Dr. Golwalkar has found, is that it has an excellent anti-fibrosis property, and that we have found in the corneal ulcer treatment. Also, if you treat corneal ulcer and corneal opacity with methylene blue, it starts clearing by reversal of the fibrosis. It prevents to a good extent and reverses the fibrosis of lungs. Many persons who have recovered from COVID pneumonia have now been found to develop slow or fast lung fibrosis over a period of next 2 months. Interstitial lung fibrosis, if significant, leads to the need of permanent oxygen support by oxygen concentrator, and such patients are highly prone to other secondary lung infections. And if such a fibrosis is seen on X-ray, most of the developed countries do not give an immigrant visa for the Indian citizens. So it's a big menace. And the cause of this post-COVID fibrosis is this. This is the normal bronchus, and this is the bronchus of a COVID patient. And what happens is that this COVID virus induces the secretion of a hyaline membrane. And it is so plasticky as if it's a mother of pearl. And in case of a normal suppurative bronchitis, the cough or the secretion becomes liquid with a mucolytics, and eventually the patient can cough it out. But in COVID, even if the patient tries to cough out, nothing comes out because this membrane is sticky and is sticky to trachea in the bronchus. And we'll see this video of bronchoscopy courtesy Dr. Deepak Golwalkar. This is the COVID bronchoscopy, where you can see the plasticky Fevicol-like membrane in the bronchus. And even after the cure, this membrane is going to stay there, and that membrane eventually will dry up and lead to blockage of the bronchioles and causes the fibrosis of the lungs. All these ciliary scaly secretions are caused by COVID. This is very typical of COVID. And if you do a special kind of residual subtraction X-ray of these patients, you realize that all these silvery linings which are seen in the trachea, bronchus, and the bronchioles are because of those silvery hyaline pearl, mother of pearl-like membrane. And this is the patient of Dr. Deepak Golwalkar, having post-COVID lung fibrosis extensive in the right lung and to a good extent in the left lung. And with methylene blue, the left lung has cleared in 1.5 months completely, and the right lung has also cleared almost completely. The patient is still under treatment. This is another case of Dr. Golwalkar's, sir. This is a post-tuberculosis fibrosis of the left lung, and to a good extent the hilar portion of the right lung. And with methylene blue inhalation, the both lungs are cleared in about 18 months time. And this is another patient of extensive tuberculosis of this patient who has almost completely reversed or reversal of fibrosis of the lung with methylene blue inhalation, which is the technique Dr. Golwalkar has developed to take methylene blue straight into the lungs. And this hyaline membrane cannot be broken down by anything else but methylene blue. Methylene blue is the only drug which can dissolve this highly membrane and reverse the fibrosis. And now, coming back to this paper, 5 micromole per liter of methylene blue inactivates 6.5 log of virus in 3 minutes. So if we want to calculate the dose based on molar weight of methylene blue, which is 320 gram, and if we want to make a 5 micromolar solution, we need 1600 microgram powder diluted in 1 liter water. We make 5 micromolar solution. So let us estimate that a person having weight of 70 kilogram is having 50 liters of water in his body. So 1600 microgram multiplied by 50 liters will give us 80,000 micrograms. So that's 80 milligram. So if we give 80 milligram of methylene blue to any person given intravenous, which is about 1.3 milligram per kilogram of body weight, we kill the viruses in his blood, in his entire body, wherever the viruses are, within 3 to 4 minutes. It will also reverse the methemoglobinemia. It will prevent the shock. It will calm down the cytokine storm. So just one injection of intravenous methylene blue is as good as everything else in the COVID management. And upper dose is 350 milligrams. So giving 80 milligrams, we are still about 4 to 5 times lower than the toxic dose. This is to be diluted in 100 ml of 5% dextrose or 500 ml of normal saline and to be given intravenous after over 1 hour. Dr. Rakesh Tolthia, who is present here, is my guy is a COVID specialist and physician from Surat. He's in the panel. He has treated 76 patients with methylene blue, nothing else, and with 100% successful outcome, no progression of lung infiltration. Methylene blue is the first line of OPD-based therapy, and just giving 1 intravenous injection of methylene blue, his patients never needed an ICU admission. He has a 20-bed of ICU, but it's now almost empty because he started using methylene blue from August 15 onwards. And Dr. Vishnu Patel and Dr. Nihar Patel, both are MD physicians from Mehsana. They are going to join us in the panel very soon. They have been using methylene blue intravenous for aniline poisoning since 1988 when we were in college together, and he has treated over 200 patients of COVID with IV and nebulizer methylene blue, both combo. And Mehsana district, like Bhavnagar district, has also been made almost free from COVID by this pair of my friends. And with the guidance from all these stalwarts who have been using methylene blue, I also treated myself about 16 of my family members and relatives with intravenous methylene under my direct supervision. And we never need to use PPE kit when you have methylene blue in your nose and oral cavity. You're never afraid of infection with methylene blue, and I became a sort of small COVID specialist in this last 6 or 7 months. And nebulization of methylene blue to be taken to the lungs is a very nice invention done by Dr. Golakar. 5 ml of 0.1% methylene blue solution to be taken in the nebulizer with 1 ml of Dexana and 1 ml of Duolin. I think we'll hear from Dr. Golakar himself. And first time is to be done under supervision of MD. After that, the patient can do it himself at home. And this is Dr. Golwalkar's patient. He has actually modified the nebulizer in such a way that you don't need a mask, so you don't need to keep on changing the expensive disposable masks between the patients. And Dr. Golwalkar is so confident about methylene blue's protective role that he hardly ever uses a mask or PPE kit. He never uses PPE kit. He uses mask sometimes, but most of the times he doesn't use even mask. And at the age of 69, he treats 70 to 80 COVID patients every day, works from 10 a.m. to midnight, and then plays badminton. This is another small nebulizer which I have found to be very useful, especially for traveling. And this is USB rechargeable, self-battery powered. You can take methylene blue in a small cup, 5 ml with dexamethasone. This is the nebulizer, and It's a small USB rechargeable one, and it sprays a very nice mist of methylene blue. So every day night I take the methylene blue nebulization into the nose and into the throat so that it goes into the paranasal sinuses. It goes right up to the lungs. So if at all I have got any virus in the day during my hospital hours, it gets killed in the night. And it's available for about 150 to 200 rupees from Amazon, from more than 8 to 10 sellers. Amazon India. And here I just want to mention that we are not talking about vaporizer, we are talking about nebulizer. Because in case of vaporizer, what will happen is only water will boil. Methylene blue has a boiling point of 1600 degrees centigrade. So it's a salt. So like a salt solution, when you boil it, only water will go out and methylene blue will stay back. So steamer or sauna kind of steam inhaler is not to be used. What we are talking about is the ultrasonic or compressor-based nebulizer, which causes a cold mist, not the hot steam. There are many safety concerns of quite a number of people about methylene blue. But if you read the safety concern papers, there are so many papers available online which gives us a very clear idea that methylene blue is very safe to be given and there's hardly any side effect. It can be given intravenous to adults, to neonates, to infants, to children and to adolescents, everybody. It can be given oral as well as intravenous to all the age group. Anybody more than the age of 5, more than the age of 9 months to 100 years can take methylene blue. And also prevention is worth a pound of cure, as is said by Benjamin Franklin. So let us come back to this paper from Valeria Caino from University of Geneva, and this paper very clearly demonstrates and gives an evidence that the results shown in figure 1 gives an evidence complete inhibition up to 10 microgram per ml. That means a concentration up to 10 microgram per ml of methylene blue completely inhibits the replication of the viruses. It kills the viruses completely. So let us take 10 microgram per ml as a benchmark, and as is suggested by Dr. Golwalkar, 0.1% methylene blue solution, which is 1 milligram per ml. So that is 1000 microgram in 1 ml. So 10 microgram per ml completely destroys and inhibits SARS-CoV-2, as is proven by Valeria Caino and her team. So 0.1% solution, which is 1000 microgram in 1 ml, is 100 times more potent than the necessary dose. So 1% solution is, and 1% solution is 1000 times more potent, 0.1% is 100 times more potent, and above 5% is toxic. So the margin of safety is 5,000 times. So Dr. Golwalkar has suggested and tried in more than 2,000 patients and their family members, n number of family members, 2.5 ml of 0.1 methylene solution, aqueous solution, sublingual daily once in the morning on empty stomach. And his sutra is very famous here, Bhuri dawa jhi ke andar to corona ho jaye chumantar, which for the, if we translate in English, it means methylene blue in oronasal way, corona will go away and stay away. I have modified my protocol for protection as 1.25 ml twice a day, because even 2.5 ml is 250 times more potent. So 1.25 ml twice a day, because drug remains in blood for about 12 hours and I may get virus from my patients in the day. So morning dose will prevent me for the whole day, and then in the night I may get virus from my wife who has gone for grocery shopping or in a mall or a party. I may get virus from my children who have played in the team and with other children. So you can get virus in the night or in the daytime. So it's my personal suggestion or my personal protocol is to take 1.25 ml in the morning and in the evening. Does methylene blue work? Yes, observational study we have done of 50 families, 300 prime contacts who are spouse, blood and close relatives are living in the same house. Half of them were non-takers of methylene blue because they had some reservation having bypass done or having this done or this done, they did not take it. So those who did not take methylene blue, 60% of them came positive in the next 10 days. Those who took methylene blue, 92% of them remained negative. And those 8% who got COVID positive were irregular methylene blue takers, and they got only very mild form of disease. Another set of patients is Dr. Golwalkar's own patients, 2,000 patients he has treated in the last 8 months. And his observational study of these 2,000 families, what it does is whenever a patient comes, he gives methylene blue for his entire family and the neighborhoods. So everybody from the family of a positive patient and the neighbors of that patient starts taking methylene blue for 10 days, 10 to 12 days. And then we found that in all his patients, there was almost zero infection rate in these 2,000 families because they were strongly advised and given methylene blue bottles by him. And Advocacy, who is a philanthropist, as I introduced, has distributed over 3,000 bottles to families. And Yanisam and others, some years distributed over 20,000 bottles. So Bhavnagar is fast approaching zero case target. I don't claim that it's only because of methylene blue, but probably the methylene blue has contributed a lot in bringing down Bhavnagar cases near to zero. Now we did another study because now rapid antigen test is very easily available and freely available by Bhavnagar Municipal Corporation. Which has a specificity of 99%, 99.9%. That means if it is positive, it's really positive. Sensitivity is 76%. So if it is negative, we are not sure that it's negative, but positive means really positive. So what we did was, in 135 such positive patients, we gave them methylene blue and UV light, 3 doses, morning, evening, next day morning. And then we asked them to get the rapid antigen test done on the next day evening. So Monday morning they were positive. On Tuesday evening they were negative, all 135. And you can all repeat this experiment in your city. This rapid antigen test kit from Korea is now very freely available from many private laboratories and from the government authorities. So any institute can design this study and do this study. And it really proves that it kills the viruses in nose and throat within 3 doses, 1.5 days. Now I would like to show here how I make methylene blue solution at home for my family and friends. I'm not advocating or soliciting anything. I'm just showing you what we are doing. So we take 1 methylene blue injection, break it. This is 10 ml, and this 10 ml is to be added into 90 ml of RO water or mineral water. So that will make 0.1% solution. So adding 1 injection of 10 ml, 1% methylene blue into 90 ml. Another way is to get a methylene blue powder, USP or British Pharmacopoeia grade, and make it. Another way is to get a methylene blue powder of some standard company like Merck or GlaxoChem or Ranbaxy or Sigma-Aldrich, which is 99% purity. And this powder is actually used for microscopic staining, but it is near to the pharma grade and can be used. So we can take 1 gram of this powder on a Zeller's scale, and 1 gram of powder is to be added to 1 liter of water, and that will make 0.1% solution. So this is 1 gram of powder which I'm adding to 1 liter of Kinley's mineral water. And it forms beautiful pattern when it starts melting. It is readily miscible in water, it dissolves very rapidly. You put it sublingual, hold it there for 1 minute, and after holding it there for 1 minute, you just gulp it. So there will be enough blood concentration as well as there will be painting of the throat, which will be there 12 hours to protect you. It is bactericidal, bactericidal, and fungicidal, so there's no need for any preservative. There's no need for buffer or pH compensating solution because it's a redox. It has a potential to adjust its own pH, and it's a basic organic nitrogen based azothiazine chemical. So it doesn't have any expiry date. It has infinite shelf life. And for measuring 2.5 ml, you can use either dropper or a standard spoon. Spoon can be standardized by dropper, or you can use the pediatric syrup cup or a 2 ml syringe for measuring the milliliter. Or we can use this kind of spoon which are available for cooking, the measuring spoon for chef and for cooking. This is my tongue after the morning dose when I go to the hospital. This is my tongue when I go to bed. Imagine that you have eaten jambu every day for next 5 to 6 months. And methylene blue on the tongue and the blood gives you a blue armor like a kavach. And you are 100% sure that you will not get the infection. I mean, me and Dr. Golwalkar are so sure that even if you want to give a viral fluid of 10 ml into our throat, we are ready to take it in the public under observation of all of you. And I was, while making this PPT, I was wondering why all Hindu gods have been depicted as blue. The Vishnu, the Shiva, Rama, and Krishna, all are depicted blue. Probably blue color had some kind of immunity or some kind of protection. If you don't want to take it sublingual concentrate as because it's bitter, maybe you can add this to a lemon juice and slowly drink it, sip by sip to reduce the bitterness. And recently I have also started using, instead of nebulizer, because the nebulizer makes my mouth blue and the mustache blue. So we made methylene blue nasal drops, and I take the drops into the nose and suck it into the nose. So that's another way of taking it into your nasal cavity. Oral is very simple, sublingual. And if you have methylene blue in your tongue and in your nasal mucosa, you really don't need the muscles. And she is my wife, Dr. Ela. She has done a smart idea of impregnating mouth chewable tablets of Sithoplali, which is an Ayurvedic medicine. So because carrying liquid when you are traveling, sometimes if it leaks, it spoils your clothes. So you can take methylene as a dry form in the form of tablets. And this is Septilene, which is an Ayurvedic immune booster tablet, which also readily absorbs the methylene blue. So she made tablets for me when I was traveling. And this looks like an evil eye of Turkey, which is the time to protect you from the evil Nazir. And she also makes Britannia Little Heart biscuits impregnated with methylene blue, so that these biscuits are sweet, so the bitterness of the methylene blue is counteracted. So there are many ways of doing it. And when we were experimenting, me and my wife, we found a phenomena, very wonderful phenomena. If you put methylene blue on a vitamin C tablet, impregnating vitamin C tablet, in about 12 minutes time, the methylene blue gets converted into reduced leukomethylene blue. And this leukomethylene blue does not stain your tongue blue, and it does not taste bitter. The bitterness is completely gone. So now we started impregnating vitamin C tablets with methylene blue and taking the vitamin C tablets twice a day. This is a zinc with vitamin C tablet, which gives the same result. Within 12 minutes, the methylene blue gets converted into reduced leukomethylene blue. And zincoside is zinc with vitamin C and with bilbo extract, which is manufactured by Anton Pharma, and I experimented with zincoside also. And in 12 minutes, methylene blue gets converted into leukomethylene blue. So you can, convert your vitamin C tablet or zinc vitamin C tablet into a methylene blue tablet just by putting 0.1 ml of 1% methylene blue and reducing it to leukomethylene blue. You can use insulin syringe to have 0.1 ml being put on the tablet. In USA, methylene blue tablets are available, but it's also available as Uribel capsule in USA, but in India it's not available, so we have to make our own. And I request Nikhil Mansurkar, the owner and the CEO of Pharma, that he should think of manufacturing methylene blue tablet as Zincovit MB Zincoside tablet with methylene blue in the reduced form. Maybe they can make it as a product. This is another paper which has come from Tehran University of Medical Sciences, which describes all the 17 actions of methylene blue, why methylene blue should be used in COVID-19. Many people have a question about whether can we use it in a patient who has undergone bypass or has undergone angioplasty. And if you read the literature about methylene blue, it is cardioprotective actually. So any person even with coronary heart disease can take it. There's no objection. In fact, it is cardioprotective. It is a known drug to increase the longevity in the Western world. And methylene blue is also an antidote to altitude sickness. When the person climbs to a very high altitude above 18,000 feet, and the mountaineers, they start developing pulmonary edema because there is hypoxia. So because of the methemoglobinemia and hypoxia in their blood, the pulmonary vasodilation occurs and they develop pulmonary edema. So the mountaineers, they regularly take methylene blue when they're climbing mountains like Mount Everest. So all these mountains, they take methylene blue with them. And it's not only that, it's a great mitochondrial respirator. So it gives you so much of working efficiency without any mental fatigue, without any physical fatigue, because it prevents the formation of pyruvic acid and lactic acid in the muscles. So you never feel physical fatigue, you never feel mental fatigue. So there are so many groups of people who take methylene blue regularly who have to work for 14-15 hours a day. So it's nothing new. There's a whole website and there's a whole world group known as Scorpina who take methylene blue for years and years together. This is the paper about the pharmacokinetic of methylene blue. It passes out in urine as is without any chemical change, because ultimately it's a salt. It's just passes out like sodium chloride. It is not hepatotoxic because there is no metabolism. It does not get metabolized and broken into any component. It is not nephrotoxic. There is not a single report of nephrotoxicity in last 135 years literature. It is not carcinogenic. In fact, it is anti-cancer drug and it is cardioprotective drug. So it's something which is a wonderful molecule which we all have ignored, and we have not been taught in our medical colleges about this in the proper fashion. Methylene blue injection is available in India from several companies. These are the companies which are making methylene blue injection. It's very easily available. This is these are the comments. Dr. Anil Patel has not been able to join our panel today, but he has sent me these comments to be spoken on his behalf. And he said that antiviral property is more important than the anti-inflammatory, very effective if given in first 3 to 4 days of onset of symptoms. It kills the viruses immediately. There are no side effects. It's very safe if G6PD deficiency is ruled out. And for late stages of infection, continuous infusion or frequent nebulization is to be given. If GFR is less than 30 ml per minute per 1.73 meters square of the body surface area, I want the use of intravenous methylene blue. The normal GFR in most of the patients is 130 ml or above. So if there is too much of reduction in GFR because of chronic renal failure, avoid intravenous. 1 to 2 milligram per kg body weight is the dose. IV infusion in 5% dextrose, 100 ml, preferably not in normal saline. And it can be safely given up to 5 days, 1 injection per day. Monitor hemoglobin, reticulocyte count, and serum bilirubin. And we lost one patient because in those days we did not know that methylene blue and tocilizumab should not be given on the same day. So the patient's last dose of methylene blue, the 4th dose of methylene blue and the tocilizumab coincided, and the patient went into acute renal failure and lost that one patient. And we learned that tocilizumab and methylene blue is not to be given on the same date. This is a paper which has come up from orthopedics journal, World Orthopedic Journal, and they have suggested a therapeutic protocol for leukomethylene blue, the protocol for severe and very severe patient to be given intravenously, the protocol for infected cases for minor and moderate form to be given orally, and this formula also suggests how we can convert methylene blue into leukomethylene blue, the same way as I suggested using vitamin C. Dr. Anil Patel has already finished his trial of 110 cases, and it's not only in India but across the world. There are many ICUs which are using methylene blue even as a continuous infusion pump, and wherever they are using methylene blue, the ICU beds are now becoming completely empty. You can see that this trial is going on somewhere in Philippines or in Saudi, and the methylene blue, ICUs are almost empty. And in open heart surgery, they induce a cardioplegic shock by putting ice on the heart beating. Once the valvular replacement is done, the cardiac surgeons want to restart the heart, and for restarting the heart, they give intravenous methylene blue. So any cardiac surgeon knows how important is the role of methylene blue in cardioprotection. It reverses the cardioplegia. There are some side effects: the bitter taste for 1 hour, blue term for 4 to 6 hours, greenish tinge in urine. This is to be warned to all patients that your urine will turn green because the methylene blue comes out as blue, and there is urea and urine, so urea is yellow, so that yellow and blue mixes and makes it green. Rarely there is nausea, rarely there is diarrhea. There is a mild rise of skin temperature and hot feeling as if you have taken systemic atropine or as if you have taken steroid. That's because of a profound mitochondrial respiration, increase in mitochondrial respiration. There's a mild rise of systolic blood pressure because it blocks the nitric oxide pathway. So BP rises by 5 to 10 millimeters of mercury. There is mild irritation for a few hours in the nasal mucosa when the patient is put on the nasal inhalation. After 2 or 3 days, the mucosa gets used to that irritation, but in first 1 or 2 days, they feel irritation. Any major adverse side effects have been known since 1881. Not a single death has been reported by methylene blue in last 130 years. And in fact, it is the treatment of anaphylaxis because anaphylaxis is nitric oxide and cGMP and bradykinin induced peripheral vasodilation shock and pulmonary edema. So methylene blue actually is the treatment for the reversal of anaphylaxis. There are some advantageous side effects. The sleep requirement decreases. Now what your brain needs about 8 hours or 7 hours of sleep for the recharging of neurons. You get the same refreshing effect in the brain in 4.5 hours. So after I started taking it, I need to sleep only 4.5 hours for last 5-6 months. It gives mental as well as physical, mental as well as physical lethargy, fatigue and tiredness feeling is almost gone as if it is evaporated. Pain tolerance as well as physical endurance increases because of the anti-inflammatory effect and because it kills the pyruvic acid and lactic acid. Mental higher function and memory and cognition improves. It's in fact used as a nootropic for enhancing the memory. The blood sugar falls by 50 to 70 milligram in diabetics thanks to increased mitochondrial respiration and ATP production because glucose is consumed. Mood improves so much that we never feel blue or black moods. There's always a feeling of innocent bliss, the nirdosh permanent, which the sadhus and the saints, they feel. You take 1 ml of 0.1% methylene blue and you get the same feeling because of increased serotonin in your blood. It gives a sort of a double 007 feeling as described by many doctors to me. I asked them what do you mean by double 007. So they said 1007 is I feel as if I'm on cloud 7. And then I said, what is second double 007? They said, I feel like James Bond. And it not only kills viruses and bacteria, it kills constipation also. Another good effect I observed is that gradually over a period of 3 to 4 months, it makes your teeth whiter. The dental caries are gone. And, there is no abscess ulceration or no tongue ulceration. The bad breath is completely gone. Not only that, when I take the night dose in the morning, my tongue is as clean as if I already done the tongue cleaner. because this is basically growth of bacteria and the fungus on your tongue overnight in 8 hours, which we have to scrap with the tongue cleaner. But with methylene blue at the night, you don't need to clean your tongue, it's already clean. There's nothing. And many of my patients our patients who started home prophylaxis with methylene blue, they said that the children who had chronic tonsillitis for 1 year, 1.5 years, resistant to almost all antibiotics, they started getting cured in 1 day, 1.5 days. And that's a really good beneficial effect which we have received the feedback from. Regular use of methylene blue will prevent not only corona but will prevent dengue, chikungunya, influenza A, hepatitis A, B and C, Nipah, Zika and West Nile infection, Japanese encephalitis, urinary tract infection and falciparum or vivax malaria. With so much of rain in India this year, these epidemics are also going to come in a month's time. Especially dengue and chikungunya will become rampant after Deepavali. So, and there is one paper which says that if a mosquito bites a person in whose blood there is methylene blue, the methylene blue goes into the stomach of the mosquito and it kills the dengue viruses here. And then this mosquito, if it bites another person, this mosquito will not be able to transmit the dengue disease. And this is the paper, you can read the entire paper from Alsan and Dico and his team. It gives such a very nice effect of the mood elevation that I feel that it can even be used as a de-addiction molecule. There are some contraindications in the first and second trimester of pregnancy, avoid it. In third trimester, it can be given sublingual if the risk to mother's life is more, risk-benefit ratio to be weighed. Avoiding severe kidney or severe liver failure disease. And if the patient is on antidepressant like MAO inhibitors or SSRI, it is to be avoided or it is to be given in a very low dose or reduce the MAO inhibitor dose because it is serotonin analog and MAO inhibitor is also serotonin analog. So the patients might go from normal to euphoria or sometimes to psychic state. To be avoided in G6PD deficiency, of course it's a relative contraindication. Can be given in children 9 months and above. Upper age is, there is no age bar, you can give it to any age as high as 100 years of age. Can an ISD or coronary bypass patient take it? Yes, because it has a cardioprotective action, definitely can take. Can a cancer patient take it? Yes, because it is a part of the chemotherapy of many types of cancer. In fact, methylene, age 6 months onwards, 9 months onwards up to 110 years. Chronic renal failure or oral or sublingual can be given if the GFR is above 30. There are so many scholarly articles about mitochondrial respiration and methylene blue that if you take methylene blue, you can definitely work like Mr. Narendra Modi from 4 a.m. to 12 midnight without feeling any tiredness, without feeling any fatigue. It has a protective role on Alzheimer's disease, and there are hundreds of papers of methylene blue's role in reversal of Alzheimer's disease. And this is the neural network of Alzheimer's disease, which can be reversed by methylene blue. It can prevent the progression of Huntington's disease, which is the Alzheimer's disease of the young population below the age of 40. And it also holds the progression of Parkinson's disease. It's an aid in memory, it improves cognition and recognition. It is the best energy booster based on any of the protein supplement. And methylene blue is also used as a treatment in rheumatoid arthritis, so it can replace quinine or hydroxychloroquine for the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. It has an excellent anti-aging potential for human skin longevity. It reverses or holds the progeria, which is a disease where the child becomes older, child looks older than the parents. And University of Maryland has done a study painting half of the face with methylene blue cream, and you can see the result within 10 days. The methylene blue side of the face becomes wrinkle-free. And now methylene blue is available in USA as a cream. This methylene blue cream costs around $37 US, so it's available freely online. It's so safe that it's available online or over the counter. So methylene blue is oxidant as well as antioxidant depending on which enzyme pathway it takes. In my opinion, the Vedokta Ashirvad of Jived Sharada Shatam and live 100 years, probably methylene blue can help you help us achieve it. And if we open our heart to methylene blue and read about it, there are 5,236 published peer-reviewed papers about methylene blue's various 17 actions. We just need to open our heart and read about it. And if you read, you will find that it's real blue miracle. And when I started talking on 26th of March about UV light's role in killing the coronavirus, people were laughing. I was trolled by the local doctors and so many of our colleagues. But now we know that germicidal UV light has been established as a way of fighting COVID, and even in Parliament Bhavan it has been featured. So eventually we are very sure that one day the science will prevail and methylene blue will be adopted far and wide by the government and by the people. So here I end my talk. Thank you very much, and we open this session for discussion and question and answer. We have Dr. Golwalkar, and we would like to hear from Dr. Golwalkar.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kakadia. Let us start the discussion after Dr. Golwalkar presents his slides and his experience. Please unmute yourself, Dr. Golwalkar. Dr. Golwalkar is a good singer. Hello, please unmute yourself, Dr. Golwalkar.
Hello. No, I am not a good singer. I am a santoor player.
Santoor player. And
yes.
you are a disciple of Pandit Shivkumar Sharma.
Yeah. He has blessed me, and I am happy in playing.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
I enjoy playing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Dr. Kakadi has exhaustively covered all the aspects of methylene blue. Now, I would like to share my experiences and the way I am treating patients and what precautions I do take. And hello. Can you hear this? Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, you can hear me. No?
Yeah.
Now, I'll start with the way everybody asks me how you got the idea of treating with the methylene blue. Now, it goes back to 1979 when I was a student and I was asked by my professor to diagnose the bronchopleural fistula. And we used to still inject about 50-60 milliliter of methylene blue into the chest wall, and we used to diagnose with the methylene blue. Hello, you can hear me, no?
Yes, sir.
Then, but then at that time I was noticing that whenever I had performed that broncho diagnosis investigation with the bronchopleural fistula, the healing was better. But then it was registered in the back of my mind, but then I had stopped thinking about it, but I never thought of it. But then I'm pioneer in starting nebulizer therapy in Gujarat and our state. And when I started nebulizer therapy in state, I had the desire, I had an idea to treat TB with nebulizer. Since then, one fine morning, I got a click that if I can use methylene blue in nebulizer, it should work. To take the advantage of its property as a bactericidal, a virucidal, fungicidal, I thought it can, because by that time I had started getting XDR patient where there was no hope of any survival. So I started using it, and to my surprise, I started getting good results. 50% of the XDR patients started recovering. And then when I found that it is they are recovering, what dose I have to give? Now, then I noticed there are a lot of anti-fibrotic activity of the this drug. So you yes. Okay. Sorry for back. Back again.
Are you showing your
Yes, yes.
slides, sir?
No,
Please
no,
share the slides. We can see.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Then I found that significant success in MDR. First I tried in XDR, then in MDR, and then I noticed that antifibrotic activity may help me in treating ILD patients. While treating ILD patients, I thought uh, because it is a collagenous disorder, if I can take help of sublingual or systemic some help from methylene blue, I started using sublingually also. Sublingually for the reason that I wanted it in the bloodstream, because sublingual is the fastest way to enter into the bloodstream. I started with 5 milliliter or sublingually, but patients were not tolerating better way. So I reduced it to 2.5 liter and the results were very good. Acceptability was also very good. Then I noticed the antifibrotic activity. See, antifibrotic activity I noticed in interstitial lung disease as well as in tubercular fibrosis. You can see the left side, the patient had extensive tuberculosis. This is one of the patient. I must have treated at least 10,000 patients, but one of the patient, and patient had come in a very bad shape. Doctors were challenging me that he will not survive. I said, if he stays for 5 days, then I can guarantee you, challenge you that he will survive. And then this is the final result on the right side. Minimal fibrosis is there. Antifibrotic activity, then I thought of it using it in interstitial lung disease. Even there, to patients of interstitial lung disease with, if they are not having clubbing, and after walk test, if the saturation going down and returning within 10 seconds, I assured that you will have no problem, and they are recovering very fast. Now, in the phase of this COVID, post-COVID fibrosis, you can see on the left side extensive fibrosis. Patient had come from Surat with 80% oxygen saturation. I admitted him for 3 days. 4th day I gave him discharge. 3 days he has to be oxygenated. And 4th day I gave him discharge. This is the final within 2 months. Now my observation is that tuberculosis, antifibrosis takes 6 to 8 months. In COVID fibrosis, it takes 2 months only, 2.5 months. Within 2.5 months, it goes back to normal. And in some patient of tuberculosis, casio-pneumonic lesion with cavity lesion, I have found that total resolution, no evidence that patient, even though patient was put on positivity was there, casio-pneumonic lesion was there, cavity lesion was there, but at the end, I couldn't see a single evidence that patient had TB. So that is something unexplained phenomena. I always invite the researchers to find out the possible present way of mechanism of action of methylene blue doesn't explain this phenomenon. This is in COVID, I'm more happy because in my opinion, it is an acute phenomenon. It is an interstitial edema more than fibrosis. Because in TB, what happens? There is a shrinkage, atelectasis, loss of volume. It takes some longer time. But here you can see, this is one of the patients. I got collected X-rays about 70 patients where this fibrosis has been reverted, and they are very much happy now. Now, regarding the TB, COVID, I would like to say how I treat it. Now, the symptoms of COVID are fever, low grade, everybody knows, with or without rigors, loss of taste and smell, along with heaviness in the chest. That is very significant. Coughing with no expectoration. Patient will go on coughing, but no expectoration, because Dr. Kakria had shown that it is plastic-like. It is adherent to the mucosal wall of the bronchi. So you don't bring out any sputum. Disproportionate weakness. If you have got a flu, but with some paracetamol or antihistaminic, you can attend your clinic, but here patient is restless. He said that do something, I'm very much weak, I cannot get up. That is most important. does not complain of breathless. If patient, though despite he is having 70% oxygen saturation, he doesn't complain of any breathlessness. And one more observation I have been doing, and that I am using in my clinic, change of skin texture. Normal shining of the skin texture is gone. There is a dull skin. You start observing. I always say that patient speaks of face itself speaks. The luster is gone. It is dull. Then you can suspect that the patient has got something serious illness, and you have to think of it. Now, practical tips of the doctors. See, if a patient comes to you, 20-meter walk test. Why I'm saying every patient is not COVID positive, but if you suspect, if you see the oxygen saturation, because what happens, every time it is not positive, patient doesn't come with HRCT, he comes to you first, see the oxygen saturation in the blood. If it is 97, ask him to walk 20 meters. 6 meters we cannot, otherwise we'll end in trouble. But 20 meters is enough. Ask him to walk for 20 meters rapidly. Call him back and put the pulse oximeter. One very important and practical thing I would like to say, if he goes with 97% oxygen saturation, he comes back, you measure, it will be 97, but it will start falling at the end of 20 seconds, 15 to 20 seconds. It will fall to what level it goes down. That is you will get an idea to what extent the damage has taken place and how much time it takes to come back to normal. That is very important, because all the patients, you don't get HRCT or positivity, rapid test positive, you don't get in all the patients. Second thing, X-ray finding. Now see, in pneumonia or any other illness, you get big shadows. Here you get very floppy shadows. Train your eyes. You are all are ophthalmic surgeons, but we are dealing with lungs. Train your eyes. The lungs X-ray itself will tell you. You can see, find silver line sticks. You get floppy shadows. They are diffuse floppy shadows. They are not localized to one segment or any lobe, but they are diffuse shadow with silver lining. Silver lining is because the clogging of the fluid in the bronchioles. They give and the peripheral bronchi, they are not routinely visible. Only in good X-ray and trained eyes of our chest physicians, they can see the peripheral bronchi. But here you can see I have pointed out the bronchi, they are peripheral bronchi. Normally they are not visible, but you can see them. They are silver sticks. They are significant, and they are suggestive that there is some interbronchial clogging is there, and they are giving this shining appearance. Third thing, bronchi are tortuous. Normally, you don't get straight line, but in COVID, you get, because of the filling of the material exudation, they become straight like a wire, straight wire. So that is another thing I have seen. If second thing, if you examine a patient, I'm examining, people are not examining unfortunately, but I'm examining. If you get a bronchi, be sure that the chances of COVID are remote. So if there are bronchi, because here you get silent chest. Patient is not complaining of any breathlessness, but if you auscultate him, you get a silent chest. That is very important. Now, treatment part, I would like to say prevention is better than cure. Methylene blue is best used for Methylene blue is best used for prophylaxis. Methylene blue nebulization to be added for COVID-19 positive patient. In hypoxic severe viremic IV may be given. If you suspect COVID, again I will give you, if you suspect, not confirm, but even if you suspect, immediately give inhalation of MB, dexamethasone, salmeterol, ipratropium. Do not wait for the confirmation. Do not wait for the confirmation. Sometimes patient comes to me with 70% oxygen saturation. He's not in a position, if I start giving him inhalation immediately, it will go down to 65 or 60. I will land in trouble. So what I do, I give him oxygenation. I oxygenate him, bring his oxygen level to 80, 85 or more, if possible more than that. Then I give inhalation of these 4 drugs combination. Then I send him to the hospital. This is important because moment you give inhalation, the further damage is stopped, further fibrosis, chance of fibrosis are minimized, and patients recovery is very fast. Now, how do I treat the patient? If the patient has oxygen saturation in my clinic is 95%, can be treated as an outdoor. If oxygen saturation 90 to be observed critically, if you are sure that he will keep in touch with you constantly, you can treat him as an outdoor patient. But if the patient's oxygen saturation is 85, hospitalization is needed. Sugar, if diabetic, it goes up. Even if he is not diabetic, it goes up. Sometimes, I don't know, that goes up to a great extent. It goes up to 350, 400. But what my observation is that don't treat with tablets, go on measuring sugar and treat with insulin only. If with COVID, if you have hours, not days. So I'm keeping my OPD till night because any COVID patient, I don't want to call him next day. I have to spend some more extra hours, but I'm worried about that patient because next day he will be in trouble. So you don't have days, but you have hours only. Mass singular sublingual methylene blue as a prophylaxis is the best approach to overcome this pandemic. As the Dr. Kakade has told in his lecture that 2000, more than 2000, I think it is, because I have been treating since the lockdown, it is more than 2000. But I'm advising all the relatives of the patient to take methylene blue sublingually as a prophylactic, treating the patient. Not a single family member of the patient has yet developed COVID, and as on these guidelines, I have been treating the patient. By God's grace, I have not lost a single patient. Some patients are critical, but they do recover. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Stop sharing your screen. We'll be continuing with our discussion before going to the next topic. But we have with us Mr. Mehul Chaturvedi, who is a senior MR in Nicholas Piramal. He has to leave the meeting because of some urgent family emergency, but he wants to share his experience because he has gone through a harrowing experience of COVID and how he was saved with Methylene Blue. Mr. Mehul, you are there?
Yeah.
Yeah, please share your experience.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, this is Mehul Chaturvedi. I'm an experience of 35 years practically in the medical professions. Since 35 years I'm in the medical profession, and I'm a good friend of Dr. Kakadia also. Basically, I have been encountered with Corona for around 12-15 days, 16-17 days back. I found a positive.
Please unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Please unmute yourself. Yes. Yeah, come again.
Yeah, you're getting my voice now?
Yes, now it is there.
Okay. So I got encountered with the COVID before around 15 days back, and the thing was that my temperature was not going down somehow, and even after 12 days, 13 days also my temperature was going 101, 102. And suddenly I remembered Dr. Kakadia. Dr. Kakadia called me at his office, his clinic, and given me the importance of two things. Of course, methylene blue, he has given a equal importance, but he has given importance to the UV rays also, which he has invented with the help of his own creation. So he has given me that machine also. He has given me the methylene blue also. To my all surprise, because I trust Dr. Kakadia. I never trust methylene blue or anything. Because I trust Dr. Kakadia, I took it for 2 days, methylene blue and that UV rays combination. And surprisingly found on 3rd day, rapid test goes negative immediately. This is something very miraculous for me, that which has gone completely negative, and I have gone for a rapid test which was negative. Then I gone for the other test. Then the other parameters also started going down, like D-dimer and CRP, WBC. So so this is the first time experience for me. Now I'm sharing this experience with the other people, and I'm thankful to Dr. Kakadia for such a good prognosis for that. Thank you very much.
Mehul, tell us how quickly your fever was gone after 40 days.
That is what I told. No, within 24 hours the fever is gone. Within 24 hours. Next day only the fever is gone, which I found a surprise that how it comes. So I went for rapid test on next day. So second day I found the rapid test is negative, which is very miraculous for me. And of course, I was trusting Dr. Kakadia. I have started trusting more. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Mehul. Thank you for giving time. You
sir.
can leave the meeting whenever you want. Please apology for holding you back.
No, it's okay. My father actually is not well, basically. That is the only point.
We'll continue our discussion, but in the panel, there are 3 physicians who are very busy with their COVID patient. Now also, one of them is in OPD himself. So we'll take their opinion first. Dr. Rakesh Kalathia is there with us, and Dr. Vishnu Patel. Dr. Vishnu Patel's son is Dr. Nihar, who is a pulmonologist who is treating a lot of COVID patients, and they have got a lot of things to tell us. Let them.
Mehul, switch off your mic.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So let them share their experience so that they can also be relieved whenever they feel like. Dr. Vishnu Patel, Dr. Nihar, and Dr. Rakesh Kalathia. They are the physicians who are actually treating the COVID patients. Yeah, Dr. Vishnu Patel, you can start.
Okay, first of all, it's really nice that ophthalmologist people have taken great interest in this corona pandemic, and the way Dr. Kakadia has taken initiative for usefulness of this methylene blue, and which has benefited so many patients. Starting with my experience with methylene blue, when I was resident, we used to treat so many patients of aniline dye poisoning in Baroda, because Baroda and Ankleshwar were chemical hub of not only Gujarat but all over India. So we were treating so many patients of aniline dye poisoning. The similarity between methylene blue poisoning and this thing corona is that both the patient which had desaturations to a great extent, but they were quite happy. They were not breathless. I found that maybe the cause is same, the presentation is same. So along with other physicians friends, we started using methylene blue. We were using methylene blue IV as well as nebulizer, and we have made a routine in our practice to start methylene blue IV as well as nebulization. And I had very good support of my son, Dr. Nihar Patel, who has done MD as well as DNB in pulmonary medicine. He is an interventional pulmonologist. But because of his support, I had also started COVID patients. They were all happy. Second, the most important thing I would say about outcome, that patients who had treated with methylene blue, the sugar level has gone significantly down very early. The patient now, so many patients has come with blood sugar level of around 700 milligram. But once we start methylene blue and insulin, the insulin requirement also goes down. That is the one observation I would say. And second thing, after follow-up, when patient comes, they are very happy. They say, sir, we are feeling much better now, even better than the before we got corona. So this is second observation. So routinely we use methylene blue and the patients are happy. Two things, we for patients with impaired renal function, the methylene, we don't give them IV, we just give them inhalation only. And for other patients, we give 1 ml of methylene blue in infusion daily for 3 to 4 days, along with our routine and later stage anticoagulant oxygen as well as steroids. So we are happy with Methylene Blue. We are using it, and we recommend that as it is very least toxic or so drugs without any side effects, it should be used because as Dr. Kakadia has extensively narrated the history, the usefulness, the chemical structure, that the drugs can be used as antifibrotic, as antiviral, as anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, antipsychotic, and so many antioxidant, reducing the oxidation, and it increases the mitochondrial respiration. So everybody should use it. We are happy that we are using for last 3 to 4 months, and we are sharing this experience with them. And I thank Dr. Kakadia as well as all the team that you have given us a platform to represent our experience in this. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Vishnu. Dr. Pamela, please wait. Let Dr. Nihar Patel share his experience, because he is a pulmonologist who is day in and day out, he is treating corona patients. Dr. Nihar, please.
Yes, thank you, sir. I'm audible right now?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So as I thank Dr. Jagdeep, sir, to give this opportunity, and like my father said, we are starting using Methylene Blue since last 3 months. Our protocol was simple. We divide the patient according to their symptom, which have the antigen and RT test positive. We have started with remdesivir. Our protocol was there not to stop other antiviral drug. We have given along with the standard treatment the Methylene Blue. The protocol was simple. We give 10 mg per ml, so it comes to 100 mg of Methylene Blue into 50 of NS, consecutively 3 to 4 days, with the nebulization form of 2.5 ml 3 times a day. Along with nebulization Methylene Blue, we have used 4-meteryl budesonide combination. As Dr. Gulwalkar is using dexamethasone and salbutamol, we are using 4-meteryl budesonide, which is come as a form of workout. We have experienced that along with all this treatment, the patient's recovery rate was very better. In single arm, when we are not using Methylene Blue, the treatment patient got, they discharge after 8 to 10 days. But subsequently in last 2 months, when we started with Methylene Blue, the discharge period came down to 5 to 6 days, along with the standard treatment of remdesivir. And we have used steroid. We have limited our use of steroid in some patient only, or in the time of secondary cytokine storm peak after 7 days only. So along with remdesivir, we are using mainly Methylene Blue, and outcome is very satisfactory. And as my father has said, the patient has very less side effect. We have used in CKD patient also with limited dose also. So thank you all, ophthalmologist team, to give such opportunity to speak for the COVID.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nihar, for your wonderful inputs. Is Dr. Rakesh there? Dr. Rakesh Kalathia. He is another corona warrior from Surat, and he has prevented many admissions for COVID patients and treated them at OPD level only. Dr. Rakesh there? Dr. Rakesh Kalathia. Okay, by the time he joins, I would like to ask Dr. Namrata Sharma to give her comments on the deliberation so far.
I think it was a very impressive presentation and on Methylene Blue, and I have heard this presentation before when Dr. Kakadia sir had given it, Jagdeep Kakadia sir had given it at another platform. But frankly speaking, at that time, I did not believe in it so much as I believe in it today, for the reason that, the entire systemic features were covered, and it was in very great details that he showed all these studies and everything, not only related to the eye but also related to the systemic part of the patients. And more so, I think it becomes believable because all the pulmonologists are also there with us who actually treated the COVID patients with this. At that time, I didn't think it had so much of potential, but today, by the way, the physicians are here, pulmonologists are here, and even the patients themselves, some of them who've been treated by Methylene Blue are here. They stand to the testimony and the fact that Methylene Blue really works. To me, at that time, frankly, it looked as though it was being looked at, like any new thing that comes up or anything that comes up and becomes a panacea for everything. So, it looked like that, it helped to treat one virus, and then so it was not specifically targeting the COVID-19 virus, but it was, encompassing several groups of viruses. But today, by the presentation and by the deliberations and by the discussions, it doesn't appear to be like that. And I'm thankful to Dr. Sahu sir and to you as well that I was a part of this, deliberation today, because it looks extremely convincing today. I mean, I would now say that, it is convincing, and it stands the evidence, whatever is there clinically as well as based on the literature. I just have a couple of questions. One was that it is often seen that when you give, I believe and I presume that steroids are not stopped. So it is often seen that when you give steroids, people, especially who are steroid responders, might have their blood sugars increased, and it has happened in my one of my own relatives, where the blood sugar increases because classically in the hospitals they give only remdesivir and steroids. So what is the effect of methylene blue on blood sugar? I mean, will it remain the same? It will decrease, or will it increase further? And second thing, I think that question is answered, that you don't stop any other drug. Methylene blue is continued as an adjuvant with the entire treatment protocol that is there for COVID-19.
Yeah, I think Dr. Kakade has explained about the drop in the sugar, but you can explain, Dr. Kakade.
Yeah, Dr. Ramesh also would like to speak on. As Dr. Vishnu said, it increases the sensitivity of the insulin, so the insulin requirement decreases. And by default, because it increases the mitochondrial respiration, the glucose consumption is so much as if you have walked for 4 to 5 kilometers. So your sugar level decreases by 70 to 80 milligrams per day, just by taking oral methylene. I'm not talking about IV. When you give it IV, the sugar level goes down further because of the increased metabolism. So definitely it helps in reducing the blood sugar. That is one thing. Second thing is Dr. Rakesh Korothia, once he joins, he has been treating, and with him some of the patients I also have been treating just by methylene. No other antivirals, no favipiravir, no remdesivir. You really don't need anything. You just need 2 or 3 injections of methylene blue and all the viruses are killed. Because methylene blue is not an antiviral nucleotide, it is a electron bombarding drug. It's basically a chemical which will kill all bacteria, all fungi, and all viruses. So, of course, Dr. Namrata has her own position at AIMS. And everybody's, yes, sir, please.
No, I would like to share my observation.
Yes, sir.
When you get the infection, the sugar level goes up. And then after the treatment is over, it takes 15 days to come down to normal. In diabetics, if I have given methylene blue for prophylactic, it comes down, it remains around 200. But initially in all the infective patients I've seen, I have to treat them with insulin, and then after it takes 15 days, not immediately. That time when you get an infection, it goes up. You have to titrate and go on giving insulin. And when the patient recovers from the COVID, then it comes down to back to normal. So initially you have to titrate and go on giving insulin. In all the patients, this is what I have seen. In non-corona COVID patients, in diabetics, the first observation I've seen that every patient said that leg cramps have gone, which is the commonest problem with the diabetics. But the 10th day they said that they have got sense of well-being and the leg cramps have gone. That is what I have observed. But and sugar level goes down, it remains around 200. He doesn't become normal, but it moves around 200. That's what I have seen in so many years.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have expert panelist Dr. Ramesh Shah who want to say something. Followed by that, there are questions. 2 questions we'll take, one by Dr. Prakash Marathe and one by Dr. Carla Pamela Gonzalez Daher. But Dr. Ramesh Shah, your expert comments, please.
Unmute yourself.
Please unmute yourself.
Dr. Namrata, we have treated one very severe corneal ulcer. I think Dr. Kakaya showed in the beginning. I think probably you were not there in the audience.
I came late, yeah.
I treated that thing, the severe corneal ulcer in the blind eye. So I had the opportunity to treat and take the liberty. The whole cornea was almost gone. And we gave a UV light for 2 days, and third day onward we started giving 0.03% of methylene blue eye drops prepared by one of our ophthalmic company. And the 4 days to 5 days, the whole cornea became clear and the eye became very quiet. So this is another alternative which we will have to think about in our ophthalmic field. I treated 3 of the conjunctivitis and 2 of adenovirus with the same methylene blue without any other medications. The other thing which I started treating is herpes of the forehead. So that is the only thing which comes to our practice. And 4 of the patients were treated twice, 2 days with UV light. And the third day, I prepared the methylene blue skin ointment by mixing with Nivea. And then we gave it to the patient to apply on the foreheads. And to my surprise, the full forehead which was involved got cleared in 3 to 5 days after starting the methylene blue skin ointment. This is locally prepared. It is not a scientific way of doing it, but I still did it because I was very confident that methylene blue definitely will help even in herpetic lesions of the skin. However, this requires a longer study, proper protocol followed and proved that it is really working. So what I am trying to tell you is that methylene blue is going to be a wonderful drug even in our own field, ophthalmic field, in treating corneal as well as the conjunctival infections. In fact, I am very seriously thinking instead of using betadine wash, I would put 1 drop of methylene blue before my cataract surgery.
I was about to ask that do you think it is going to replace codeine iodine for prophylaxis?
Because the difference between methylene blue and betadine is that betadine does not penetrate the cell wall, but the methylene blue penetrates the cell wall. So even the intracellular organisms can be killed with methylene blue. So I am very seriously thinking from next week, I have few drops still with me. It is prepared by one of our ophthalmic company. It is 0.03%. I had given few of them to Dr. Kakadia. Dr. Namrata Sharma, in case you are interested, I can send 20-30 drops to you to help us to prove, because you are in an institution where you can do this better than us. I can give it to you. I can send it to your address. If you can send me the address, I'll send 20 bottles to you. Please try it and help us to prove so that all of us will benefit with small amount, our small contribution in ophthalmology.
Surely, I think we could try this, and more so we are getting so many, corneal melts and there is no tissue available. I think we should try it.
So if you can send me the address, I'll send the drops.
I will.
I'll send you the drops.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Dr. Kakadia.
Yeah, thank you, Dr.
Dr. Boramani, after the panel discussion, I'd like to show to Dr. Namrata Sharma these 3 corneal ulcer slides.
Sure.
Just allow me afterwards.
Yeah. In fact, I have treated 2 herpes zoster ophthalmicus skin lesions with UVC, and the results, the recovery is very fast. You have to experience that thing. Dr. Prakash Marathe, your question, please.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I think it was a wonderful presentation by Dr. Kakadia, Dr. Volkar, and Dr. Asisha. Now, the thing is, the whole world, not only India, is passing through this phase of COVID era. And there are trials, many more trials with many more drugs, that this COVID is not getting into control. Now, when various drugs are tried and methylene blue and other therapies what these people are trying, they are giving fantastic results. Why not to take this particular issue and these particular drugs to the higher level, like Indian pharmacopoeia, British pharmacopoeia, so that these drugs can be used all over the country, all over the world, and whatever is needed in this particular direction, there are stalwarts from the field of, like they are physicians, they are ophthalmologists, and all various positions. I think this must be tried. That's what I feel. So the use of this particular drug should be available to all the public across India as well as across the world. Yes, sir. RC sir wants to say
Dr. RC will answer that. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
See,
Go.
Sir, Dr. Boramani, we would like to hear Sanjay Paranjpe. Advocate Paranjpe is here. And with his help, we have distributed so many thousands of bottles of Methylene Blue in Bhavnagar area that we are almost nearing extinction of COVID in Bhavnagar area. And our target is that by Diwali, we will have 0 cases. We would like to hear Dr. Sanjay. You have been phenomenally distributing Methylene Blue in Bhavnagar district.
I am very much thankful to all of you for inviting me and giving a platform.
Audio नहीं આવતું audio આવે પૂછો
audio આવે છે પણ સાઈડ માઈક માંથી શરૂ કરો ને
unmute yourself.
Hello. Are you getting me?
Yes, we are hearing.
Yeah. So I have seen that most of.
Please unmute yourself, sir. Okay, we can take up Dr. Carla Pamela Gonzalez's question first, please. Then Dr. Paranjpe will join. Dr. Carla Pamela, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Jagdish, Dr. Divak. Congratulations. It was an excellent presentation. For me, this is a novel subject since I have no experience with Methylene Blue. I know it's been used here in Mexico for the transfusion, for the plasma transfusions to inactivate the virus, but I don't know if it is used as prophylaxis. So you were kind enough to explain us the way to prepare the different ways of taking Methylene Blue and prepare it yourself at home. But I'm curious, is there a commercial dose available in any part of the world, or it is not, and you just have to go on and prepare it yourself?
Ma'am, in every country, every member nation of United Nations, it is the WHO's compulsion that every country has to have injection Methylene Blue ready and available wherever there are chemical industries. Because Methylene Blue is the only drug which can reverse cyanide poisoning, which can reverse nitrite poisoning, which can reverse aniline dye poisoning. So injection Methylene Blue must be available in Mexico or any part of the world. Number one. Number two, you ask any of your neurosurgeon friend or any of the gynecologist who is treating vesico-vaginal fistula, they use Methylene Blue to detect the fistula, so they must be having injections available. Injections are by default compulsory to be kept available in every member nation of United Nations. So injectable Methylene Blue must be available. If you can't get that, you can approach any science college which is having a biology laboratory. You just ask the professor of biology of higher secondary school or a microbiology department of any science college. They must be having Methylene Blue because they use Methylene Blue for various bacterial staining, acid-fast bacilli staining, gram staining, everywhere Methylene Blue is used. So any chemical supplier who is supplying Methylene Blue powder to the science college laboratory or to 11th and 12th science higher secondary school laboratory will be able to supply the powder and you can make it yourself. The easiest is to get one injection of 10 ml, dilute it into 90 ml and make 100 ml, and then you already have the British or USP grade of powder.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sanjay Paranjpe, please. We can't hear you, sir.
We can't hear you. Tamaru. Sanjay bhai, your mic is not working.
Hello. Are you getting?
Yes, now we can hear.
I'm very much thankful to all of you to giving me an opportunity to share with you. With patronage and whole heart blessings of Dr. Golwalkar, I am able to do all these things. We have reached to the peoples, those who are infected, to their family members, nears, dears, and their relatives. We have given bottle pack
like this 200 ml bottles we have prepared. Most of the journalists and other people who were working for a day, they were sitting in the evening in my office and all were preparing this, and next day morning we were distributing in the areas. Likewise, we were able to control it. But one thing is that as per mention in medical jurisprudence and taxology of H.W.V. Cox, it is clear-cut mentioned that doctors must do such a treatment which is in benefit of the patient and not benefiting to himself. But why this is not propounded by many of the doctors? I am surprised. Even the medical council and so-called as the people who are sitting at top level, I think that they have blocked their mind. They should open their mind in the vital interest of people, those who are starving like anything, to live and survive. And in most of the cases I have seen that unnecessarily doctors are giving injections of remdesivir and telizum and fetching and grabbing lot of money unnecessarily. Even I have seen in many cases when the oxygen level of patient is 90 to 95, they are showing on paper that they are giving 8 to 10 kilo of oxygen. How it is possible? What? Ramesh bhai, what?
Yeah, Dr. Ramesh, please.
Yeah.
No, please complete your thing. I want to tell something beyond yours.
Okay. So, one day at 11:30, one doctor from Surat, he was crying on phone with me that 13% of his family members are infected by corona, and his parents, his father was 90 years, mother was 85 years, were on a ventilator, and doctors have raised their hand, they will not survive. But with the help of this methylene blue, they all have come out of corona. And now they all are happy. One patient in Bhavnagar also, with guidance of Dr. Golwalkar, we have treated. The person was consuming 60 kilo of oxygen, having many complications, undergoing treatment of a cardiologist at home. He was infected by corona, and by the treatment of Golwalkar sir, the patient came down. Within 5 days, he started consuming oxygen 2 kilo only per day instead of 60 kilo per day. Now I can say that if we can get this result, why other doctors are not promoting this? What is harm in this? I can't understand. But this is the time that all of you, those who are interested, must come out with local media, with local support. We must not fear of any government hindrances, because it is constitutional right given to the patient that whatsoever treatment is beneficial to the patient, with permission of the patient, doctor is duty bound to give. So we can remove orthodoxy of mind and rigidity of the mind from other doctors, those who are not following these treatments, and they have closed their mind. They are not following for the benefit of the patients, but they are more interested in filling their pockets. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Ramesh, please.
Now I'll share you more experience about the methylene blue. I had 3 patients who wanted to go for cataract surgery. So one time we did the cataract surgery, patient could not even walk for 3 steps because of the interstitial fibrosis. Then I told the patient that why don't you take a inhalation of the nebulization of methylene blue. He took it for 15 days, and to my surprise, when he came next time, he came walking. This is after 10 years of interstitial fibrosis. And he demanded that you get my second eye cataract done. I said, you don't do it here, you will do it in the institution. He said, no, I am very good, I am very fine, I am very thankful to you. and ultimately got the cataract at my place after 15 days of the other eye. There are similar two patients, similar conditions also got it done after 15 to 20 days of methylene blue, and they got relieved of the symptoms which they have not received for last many years. This is another two experience which I have. The third thing is that we are distributing methylene blue in Bombay. I must have distributed more than 3,000 packets to 3,000 families. In my own family, my in-laws, 4 patients were positive. They got cleared with methylene blue and UV light in 2 days to 3 days time. My own brother, my bhabhi, everybody had positive, and all of them got treated. In my own building, we treated about 4 patients. All around my, whenever they come in contact with me, I give them methylene blue powder, I give them methylene blue injections and UV light. All of these things are done free of charge, and not a single patient is deteriorated so far. Everybody got cleared with methylene blue and UV light. This is my personal experience, and to the extent that probably must have treated more than 3,000 patients, families with methylene blue, and we are still distributing more powders. We are sending the powders wherever there is a scarcity, especially in Gujarat. We send it about 1 kg powder in small preparation in Rajkot, some 2-3 places where the Swaminarayan Sangh is asking through that their devotees in Mumbai. So wherever there is a demand, we will send the methylene blue. And any of this, including Beryl, Dr. Kakadia, with the help of Dr. Kakadia, the Bahrain embassy people came and collected the methylene blue, as well as they collected the UV light for the treatment in their country. So this is the power of methylene blue and UV light.
Dr. Praful Vaidya, who is the personal surgeon of Sheikh of Bahrain, I think probably he was here.
I think he has joined here.
He has joined here. Maybe we can invite him.
Sir, yeah, I had shared the ID to him. He had in fact logged in, but now I'm not able to interact with him.
Okay,
so
please ask him to come in.
Yeah, I tried calling him also.
Yes.
I
Dr.
tried
Parikshit want to say something. Dr. Parikshit, please. Can't hear Dr. Parikshit. Your voice is not coming.
Dr. Praful Vaidya, I can see him here.
Boramani sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear. Yeah.
So I had just wanted to say that it is very impressive the work that Dr. Kakadia and Dr. Shah and Dr. Golwalkar have done. I mean, hats off to them and their innovation and the great philanthropy work that Mr. Sanjay Paranspe is doing by distributing methylene blue in the various poorer communities. It is definitely something that we need to appreciate and we need to applaud. But at the same time, we have to understand that the evidence that methylene blue works perfectly against coronavirus is still scientifically very slim. These are very difficult times, and almost all the treatments that are there other than oxygen, all the antivirals and all of them are given in an empirical basis. And to some extent, that is true about methylene blue itself. So at least in a scientific forum, when we present, we should take the scientific merit also in consideration. It is good to help people, and people do need help. But I can also say from my personal day, my father was affected with COVID. He was given methylene blue, later even IV methylene blue. But well, unfortunately, it did not work. He did not have any comorbidities, but still, I mean, the outcome was not good and he passed away. Methylene blue, yes, definitely it works for some people. It may be working for a lot of people. But to make a claim that methylene blue will cure an antiviral this without any proper histopathologic basis, I think, I mean, more research is needed before we can say that. That's all I want to say.
I think Dr. Kakadia can answer that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Dr. Parikshit, that we lost your father. See, basically we are solo private practitioners, so we do not have the institutional setup to do the studies. But I've shown you that on 135 patients who came positive on Monday morning, We gave methylene blue Monday 12 o'clock, Monday 8 o'clock, on Tuesday morning, and then on Tuesday evening when the rapid antigen test was done from the nose, they all came negative. That is one evidence which we could get, because in the lockdown days or before some time, it was impossible for a practitioner to get an RT-PCR done by a private lab. So we don't have that capacity to generate the scientific evidence. What we are presenting is that what we have found, and it is for the institutional head or like the person like Dr. Namrata Sharma, who is the secretary of AIOS, who is an expert in designing the studies. Maybe they design a study and take it up at a higher level. We are just showing what we have found. So that was one thing. The other study which we did was that if a patient comes positive from right nostril swab, you put methylene blue in the left nostril, and after 40 minutes you do the rapid antigen test from the left nostril and it will come negative. I have done that for 30 patients. And then you put methylene blue in the right nostril, and after 40 minutes you do it again, which has come positive before 80 minutes will come negative. So methylene blue instantly kills the viral antigen. It destroys the virus, that is for sure.
Definitely, sir, but it cannot do it for the entire body, even if it is given orally or intravenously. Locally, it perhaps needs. So as you said, we need a larger and a more properly designed study for this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I fully agree with you. There are more than 30 studies which says that 90% of the viral load is in the nose, paranasal sinus, and in the throat, even in an infected patient. Only 10% of the viruses are either in the lungs or in the blood. So even if we kill 90% of the load, most of the patients will start recovering. Maybe in your case, the methylene blue was probably started very late after the cytokine storm had already been established.
There was no cytokine storm. It was on the third day, but that's okay. It's a personal day, so let's not get into that. We are discussing the science now.
Yeah, right. So what I mean to say is that it works in a very large number of patients, maybe 95% plus out of 100 people. So if something works in 95 out of 100 patients, the institutions should open their mind and take up a study. We are solo private practitioner. As a solo private practitioner, it's almost impossible to get.
But a lot of institutions are doing the study. So I think we will perhaps hear from them.
That's good. That's good. I mean, as soon as we can hear from them.
Dr. Kakadia, can you show the pictures of corneal ulcer to Dr. Namrata, please, if
Yes,
Dr. Puramani permits?
Yeah, please let him show. And Dr. Satish wants to say something.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I wanted to add to Dr. Gopte's question. See, I lost my cousin who was the surgical distributor for methylene blue. He has supplied to nearly about 100 doctors in the other part of Karnataka and southern Maharashtra. So, yeah, he landed with a cytokine storm, and he actually wanted to intervene and give IV methylene blue as per the advice of Dr. Golwalkar and as well as Dr. Kakadia. But the family was very, very reluctant and they did not allow us to intervene for IV methylene blue. However, we only nebulized, and as Kakadia sir has told, that methylene blue works in at least about 24 to 48 hours. It takes so much of time. And the other day I had a medicine professor who just told me that methylene blue we tried just because there was nothing else available. So there is a specific time as to when you use the methylene blue. So just before the cytokine storm sets in, that will be the ideal time, because there is hardly few hours for the patient to respond, and sometimes they succumb to that. So the conclusion is just straight away made that the patient did not respond to methylene blue, which is actually not the case. That's what I wanted to highlight it to this panel. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Kakadia.
Please share the slides. Yeah.
Yes. Dr. Namrata, this was the suppurative keratitis on day 1, where 4 millijoule per centimeter square energy UV light was given on day 1 and on day 2. And on day 3, the infection got cleared, the cornea started healing, and the epithelial defect was only this much. On day 3, methylene eye drops 0.03% was started. And on day 7, you can see that the cornea has fairly cleared, the fibrosis has started reducing, and the methylene blue drops going into the corneal lymphatics and into the ghost vessels, you can see. So methylene blue definitely helps, and since you are a cornea surgeon, we are not cornea surgeons, we are individual solo cataract surgeons, but we want to show you this, that you probably may be able to design some study techniques and take it up as a study of using UVC light and methylene blue for the treatment of very difficult kind of corneal lymphoma, even the conjunctivitis, adenoviral.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kakadia. Before we move on to the next topic, Ivermectin, last comment from Dr. Antika Prahasta from Indonesia. Stop the slides. Mr. Sanjay, can you mute yourself? Sanjay Prahasta. Can you mute yourself? Some disturbance was coming. Dr. Antika Prahasta, please unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the nice presentation. I want to ask about Dr. Kakadia. What are there any incident of severe COVID patient who have recovered with methylene blue and then get back with COVID?
I'm sorry. Will you please, sir? Will you please repeat the question?
Yeah. Are there any incident of severe COVID patient who have recovered with methylene blue and then get back with COVID? Yeah. Relapse again. Because yeah.
No, sir, I am an ophthalmologist. So what I have treated is a very limited number, not very severe cases, but probably Dr. Golwalkar can answer, or Vishnu and Dr. can answer.
See, my protocol is that till today, not a single patient has come with relapse. Second thing, I advise him to go on taking inhalation till the oxygen starts recovering. Means, for example, if your oxygen saturation is 97, you ask him 20-meter walk test, it goes down and comes up. When all the bronchi are opened up, and when he comes back, it goes to 98 from 97. That is then indication that now I can advise him to stop taking inhalation. And this protocol I have been following. He has to take inhalation for about 1.5 months. Not a single patient has come with relapse. And when, as I advised, gave immediate inhalation, not a single patient of mine has developed fibrosis, which I have shown the photographs. Not 1% has come with relapse. So my experience in 8 months, no, even in TB, not only corona is a new product for me. In 10 years, I've been treating TB patients, those patients who have been cured of TB, where it is very common to have relapse. Not 1%, I must have treated more than 10,000 patients, no mortality, excepting few XDR, but otherwise no mortality. But not a single patient has come with relapse. So methylene Q has a tremendous potential to treat these illnesses. Corona is a new, and it is an active, immediately you have to act. But even in TB, which is known for the relapse, even there I didn't find a single 1% relapse. Of course, you have to act very fast. Means you do, as I told in the lecture, that moment you suspect, give the inhalation. That stops the progress of the illness. Then you get some time to breathe.
Okay.
Thank you very much
sir.
for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dr. Kakadia, can we move on to Ivermectin now? We may be able to cover Ivermectin today.
Yes.
Let us see.
Yeah. Let us see even that.
Yeah. Please start your derivation on Ivermectin.
Okay, fine.
Everyone else, unmute please. Mute please.
So Ivermectin is another a drug which is repurposed. It is actually an anti-helminthic drug. He is Professor Satoshi Omura, who is a double PhD from Kitasato University of Japan. In 1970, he found a soil bacteria named Streptomyces evermethylis. From these bacteria, he found a compound Ivermectin. Actually, he found that in certain area of Japan, the children who had helminthiasis, who had hookworm infestation, were given the clay to eat. Now, normally in all other part of the world, when the children they eat clay, they get helminthiasis. But here, this clay of this particular area of Japan was treating helminthiasis. So he was just researching that clay, and he found that Streptomyces evermethylis bacteria, which was producing Ivermectin, was actually killing the helminths, and that's how that particular area's clay was treating this disease. So from Ivermectin, a safer compound named Ivermectin was derived, which is a very broad spectrum anti-helminthic drug. And this drug, after his synthesis, was being used by Dr. William Cecil Campbell, who is a PhD, who is a scientist, poet, and a painter from Madison, New Jersey in USA. He used ivermectin for the treatment of river blindness and elephantiasis in Africa, sub-Saharan and Central Africa. And Dr. William Cecil Campbell is the inventor of thiobendazole, albendazole, both of these drugs. And because of this, he had a connection with Dr. Satoshi Omura. So ivermectin was being used, and he found that thiobendazole and albendazole had only 65% cure rate, whereas ivermectin had 100% cure rate. And so ivermectin became one of the safest anti-helminth in Africa. And she is Professor Tu Yu, who is a PhD from China. And she synthesized a drug named as artemisinin from a plant Artemisia annua, which grows in southern part of China. And this is a very strong anti-malarial drug which kills the falciparum, Plasmodium falciparum within a day or two. So they three shared the Nobel Prize of 2015, Dr. William Campbell, Satoshi Omura, and Tu Yu for invention of ivermectin and artemisinin. And it's very interesting to hear Dr. William Campbell's Nobel lecture about how they came into the use of ivermectin. It is one of the safest anti-helminth, and it's on the essential list and African Program for Onchocerciasis by WHO. And ivermectin's antiviral properties and possible use in COVID-19 was researched by Emmanuel Rizzo from Milan, Italy. And this paper indicates that the ivermectin inhibits the replication of considerable number of RNA viruses such as dengue, West Nile virus, Venezuela equine encephalitis virus, influenza, and pseudorabies virus. And using the same mechanism, they have recently shown that the drug also inhibits the replication of SARS-CoV-2 virus in vitro, however not clarifying how it occurs. Now this is another paper which indicates that human immunodeficiency virus also is inhibited by the same drug. Simian virus is also inhibited by the same drug. And this is another paper which has come up from Australia, which says that replication of SARS-CoV-2 is inhibited by ivermectin. And 5 micromole per liter concentration of ivermectin inhibits the virus, and it reduces the viruses by 5,000 folds in 48 hours, according to this paper. The same finding has also been substantiated by another research done by Fatima Haidari, who is head of the ophthalmology at Awaz University of Medical Sciences in Iran, and her colleague, who is Reza Garebaghi from USA in Austin. So there is a lot of evidence which has come up that ivermectin works against the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Now the question is, 5 micromole per liter in 48 hours does 5,000-fold decrease of viral load. But the dose is very high because 875 gram is the molar weight of ivermectin. So for creating 5 micromole, we need to dissolve 4,375 micromoles micrograms in a liter And for a 50-liter body water, that comes to 240 milligram. Now, this is impossible to give. So WHO and US FDA said that ivermectin, although works against the SARS-CoV-2 virus, the dose is impossible to give. But there were 33 research groups in the world which thought differently. They all thought that it is not necessary to reduce the viral load by 5,000-fold. Now, 5,000-fold means if you convert this 5,000-fold decrease into a percentage, it is 1/5,000 minus 100. That gives us the decrease of viral load percentage. So that is 0.002% minus 100 means 99.99998% of decrease. Now, clinically speaking, in a human eye, in a human body, we really don't need 5,000 folds. In vitro, there is no immune system, so maybe you need this much concentration. But in a live person, there is an immune system. So we don't need 5,000-fold decrease, we just need 50-fold decrease of viral load. And 50-fold decrease of viral load is 1/50 minus 100, that is 0.02 minus 100, so that is 99.98%. So if we can reduce the viral load by this much, even if we can reduce the viral load by 80-85%, the immune system can take care of the remaining of the viral load. So to achieve this, instead of using 240 milligrams, we just need actually to use 2.4 milligrams single dose. Should be able to clear this much percentage of the viral load. And the mechanism of action was actually investigated, and I'm very happy to say that our Indian scientist, Dr. Parthasarathy Sengupta from Indian Institute of Science and Education Research from Behrampur, Odisha, has come up, and his paper has come up on 11 June, where his group has found that there is a strong molecular binding of ivermectin to RDRP, that is RNA-dependent RNA polymerase enzyme, and helicase NCB enzyme. So this enzyme binding prevents the replication and the polymerase chain reaction. So the genome does not copy. Thus, it prevents RNA replication almost completely. And this is another research which has come from Bhabha Atomic Research Center by Dharmendra Kumar Maurya, which has been published on 9 July 2020, wherein this paper says that ivermectin strongly and perfectly binds to spike proteins as well as ACE2 inhibitors. So ivermectin actually coats the spike protein of the virus as well as it coats the receptor ACE2. So the lock and the key both are coated so that the virus will not be able to enter into the cell. And there are enough evidences that ivermectin also has anti-inflammatory action and anti-cytokine action. And Dr. Amelia Carolina Sparavina has written a very nice paper which you can read on ResearchGate, and she has compiled all the 33 clinical trials which has been done around the world. And all the 33 trials have shown ivermectin to be extremely effective against this virus. You can read, this paper is about 100 pages long, but you can read every trial in that. There's another trial which has come up from Dr. Amit Patel, who is an Indian scientist working in Chicago. And according to his cohort study, including 704 ivermectin treated and 704 control patients, was derived from 169 hospitals across 3 continents with COVID-19 illness. The patients were matched for age, sex, race, and ethnicity, and comorbidities. And of these requiring mechanical ventilation, fewer patients died in ivermectin group. So even in a patient on ventilator, the death rate decreased from 21.3 to 7.3, almost 1/3. And the overall death rates were lower with ivermectin, 1.4 versus 8.4. So ivermectin, there are enough evidences gathering up about ivermectin. It is an US FDA approved drug. It is on the essential list of WHO, listed at 6.1.2 number entry. So like methylene blue, this has to be kept cheap and untaxed and freely available in any country of the world. It is an anti-helminthic according to US FDA, but off-label use for head lice, blepharitis, and scabies is described. I know several ophthalmologists who use ivermectin for blepharitis induced by Demodex. FDA has cautioned that 240 milligram dose for 5,000 folds is not possible to be given to humans, but as we saw in that calculation, we don't need 5,000 folds. And this is the literature on US FDA's website about the pharmacokinetics of ivermectin, and the adverse reactions are very minimal, and the dose could be 200 microgram per kilogram of body weight if the patient is above 80 kilograms of weight. And this is Professor Thomas Borady from Australia, and he is the person who is key inventor of cimetidine. And in 1981-82, he founded the triple therapy cure for the acid peptic ulcer, before which acid peptic ulcer was treatable only by surgery, either gingivigotomy or by duodenectomy. And he is credited for finding out cure for acid peptic disease in the form of cimetidine and ranitidine. And he saved millions of lives by doing this in the past. And he has conducted clinical trials in Bangladesh and China under his captainship, where it has been shown that ivermectin gives 100% cure rate and zero mortality in 60 and 600 patient studies. This website, Trial Site News, is worth listening. This is about 28 minutes of lecture on ivermectin, but it gives you very in-depth knowledge where the clinical trials have been done and how the clinical trials have been done. This is a paper on MedRx IV, where this says in the conclusion that ivermectin was associated with lower mortality during treatment of COVID-19, especially patients who required higher inspired oxygen or ventilatory support. There is a trial which has been nearly completed by Professor Eli Schwartz in Tel Aviv in Israel, and there's another study which has been done on 1,300 patients in Dominican Republic by Dr. Jose Redondo, and in 1,300 early stage COVID patients they found almost 100%, 99% of them have been cured. And there's one study which has been conducted in Argentina, which is known as Ivercar. There's one study which is conducted in Bangladesh Medical College at Dhaka by Dr. Tariq Alam on 400 to 500 patients. Cox Bazar Medical College in Bangladesh has done a randomized control study which has been published, which shows 100% cure rate, and admission time decreased from 21 days to 5.9 days. And National University of Singapore has launched a study, and they already have finished a study on 5,000 patients who came COVID positive, and these 5,000 patient study is also giving a very promising outcome that it works very well. There is already a study which has been concluded in Peru. So after all these studies, it has been come to a good conclusion that ivermectin 12 milligram as a treatment dose is to be given. Actually 2.4 milligram is enough, but almost all have used 12 milligram ivermectin because it's very safe. Up to 350 milligram is safe. So 12 milligram can be easily given. It is to be given with tablet doxycycline twice a day for 5 to 7 days, and tablet Zincovit twice a day. Approximately 50 milligram of zinc is needed per day. Zinc increases your immunity because it converts the cytoplasm and tissue fluids into an alkaline medium like methylene does. It directly interferes with RDRP enzyme of RNA virus, hence it prevents viral replication. It makes cell membrane very tough for viruses to penetrate, so prevents viral entry. Zinc improves absorption from GIT and transportation of ivermectin to the tissues via blood, and it is essential for conversion of lymphoblast into lymphocytes. So in maturation of the cellular immunity, zinc is essential. So zinc is to be given with ivermectin. This is the paper about potential role of zinc supplementation in prophylaxis and treatment of COVID-19. And what is the role of doxycycline and azithromycin? These both drugs have been found to enhance strong binding of the ivermectin drug to coronavirus spike proteins and ACE2 receptors. Both have fairly strong antiviral activity also. They are not only antibacterial, they have fairly good antiviral activity. Both anti-inflammatory and anti-cytokine actions also, and antibacterial coverage against the secondary infection. And clinical trial on ivermectin, named as ivermectin Borody study, is also going on in the USA, which is about to be completed in January 2023, but we can't wait that long. And there's also one study which has been conducted at King George Medical University of Lucknow. The results are very promising. Even I found one newspaper press note that ivermectin tablet is being used in place of hydroxychloroquine in AIMS, in Lady Hardinge Medical College, and in Max Hospital in Delhi. So even in AIMS, hydroxychloroquine is being replaced by ivermectin as prophylactic use. And one of the wisest ruler of the country, Yogi Adityanath, Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, has already implemented ivermectin as a prophylaxis and as a treatment for the COVID disease. This is the circular issued by the UP government on 6th August, where it has been completely given, and the instructions are complete about prophylaxis in context, for prophylaxis in healthcare workers, and for treatment in COVID positive, how to use ivermectin. And recently I learned that the government of Karnataka and government of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana have also followed the steps of UP government, and in both these states ivermectin has been cleared for prophylaxis and treatment. Ivermectin 12 milligram once a day for 3 days, zinc-seed twice a day for 5 to 7 days, and doxycycline 100 milligrams twice a day for 5 days. This is ivermectin 12 milligram as a prophylaxis for prime contacts 2 hours after dinner on day 1 and day 2 with zinc and with doxycycline. And ivermectin as a prophylactic dose for frontline healthcare workers has been advised by UP government as 12 milligram per day, 2 hours after dinner, once a week. And of course, along with the zinc to improve the absorption. So ivermectin is another molecule which is very cheap, very freely available, which is actually an anti-helminthic, which is available over the counter, which so far we have not opened our mind to, and it has now been being used by most of the physicians in India. So thank you very much, and maybe you can have questions on ivermectin. Of course, I'm not an expert on ivermectin, but Dr. Golwalkar uses ivermectin quite frequently or in almost all patients. So maybe he can give some feedback. Sir, please unmute us.
Yeah, I'm using it and I'm getting very good results with that. Results are very good. Is speaker on Kilega?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. No, I'm giving along with other medicines, and the results are very good. Means in combining this with other medicines, till today I'm happy. I must say that not a 1% patient has suffered or gone into bad state. Of course, if the patient comes with 60% oxygen saturation, I have to refer him. Otherwise, one patient I'll give an incidence that he came from Rajkot in a car. At 11:30, his oxygen saturation was 85, and he wanted to go back. He said that I will not stay here. So I gave him all these medicine, inhalation, everything. I was worried. I told him, ask him to go to Rajkot, but keep one oxygen cylinder, because these medicines takes at least 48 hours to give their prescribed results. Day before yesterday only he had been to me. He said that he kept oxygen cylinder for 1 day, but then he returned it back, and now he is absolutely fine with all these ivermectin and other medicines. So the results are very good, and no toxicity. Their acceptance is very good. That's my experience. And not a single patient I had to refer for tocilizumab or plasma therapy. Not a single patient I had to refer. I'll tell you one incident that is I can never forget. One patient with 65% concentration. dangerous zone. He had been to me. That is worth sharing experience. I said that go to hospital, get admitted. He said that my all friends, whatever, they had a bad outcome. I said, then go to the private hospital. He said that I cannot afford. Then I said, no way out. I gave him inhalation. I gave him all the therapies and say, pray God, no. He said, if I want to die, I will die at my home. Every fifth day, I went on asking about him and he was visiting me. He got totally cured and 3 days back only he had been to me by God's grace and by my grace. I don't take the grace, but he was absolutely normal. He was very firm about it that if I go to the hospital, the result was not good, so he didn't want to go. I could not afford. But Ivermectin and this combination, other combination, whatever I'm prescribing, my prescription is Ivermectin, doxycycline, azithromycin. I am combining all this together. Nebulization, I am giving acetylcysteine, I am giving ambroxol and zinc and multivitamin. That's what I am prescribing to the patient. And very rarely I think I haven't used till today remdesivir or favipiravir or tocilizumab or plasma therapy. I never had to. Only thing, as I put the condition that oxygen saturation 95 is ideal, I have got safety margin. If it is 90, I'm little worried, but then I just see that patient will inform me immediately whenever he gets, and it takes 48 hours only. Once 48 hours passes, this combination works like anything. Then I don't have to worry about him.
Okay. I have a question. For a normal healthy person as a prophylaxis, can he take only methylene blue, only Ivermectin, or should he take both? Or both will be better?
What I am following for myself, we see Dr. Kakadia had shown it. I take sublingually in the morning, and when I close my clinic, because I have to deal with open patient daily and I'm not protecting myself from any other PP kits or anything. While returning, I take nebulization for 10 seconds so that whatever virus are lodged in my nasal mucosa or oral cavity, that I take it inhalation, and that is enough for me to protect. That's what I have been following. Because in the nasal mucosa, sublingually if you take it, and my experience is some of the patient taking, they turn positive for some time. But what I feel that because it gives protection for 12 hours. If you take in the morning up to 6 o'clock, you are protected. But if you get an infection, but next day morning when you take it again, that clears the virus. That's what I have seen, because some of the patients had turned to me, they were positive after taking, even after taking methylene blue, but then I said, wait for a day, and tomorrow you take the methylene blue and go and check again, and they turn negative. That's what I have seen. So it gives protection for 12 hours. As Dr. Kakade has rightly said, he has adopted a very good technique, but what I feel that when you have to take antibiotics, so long as you are sick, you are meticulous in taking 12-hour tablets. But if you are not sick, you forget. You don't take evening dose. But here, they are not sick. For prophylaxis, twice a day, they may remember, they may not remember. So, but that is the most ideal one. That's what I am following. But I am taking inhalation. And he's taking, that is a new technique, very good device, putting drops into the nose.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I have one more question. See, Ivermectin, why the maintenance dose, prophylactic maintenance dose is once in a month, only one tablet per month maintenance? Is the plasma life so long? What is the reason?
See,
sir, I think that's a wrong protocol. Once in a month, take it for 3 weeks and then taking it once in a month is needless.
Correct. But how come they came to a wrong protocol then?
No,
I think of once in a month.
No. I don't know how the UP government has devised their prophylaxis protocol, but I personally don't feel it should be taken once in a week at least for healthcare purposes.
Okay.
Once in a month is a very long day.
I would like to say one thing about it. The virus, information we got, it are dealt in 3 ways. Once they are in the macrophages, they kill it. That is way of dispersing the virus. Second way is the thymus cell. They deal with it, but then they develop immunity. Third way is the interferon, which leads for the cytokine storm. But the immunity develops only if they are dealt by the thymus cells. So you don't know what way body is dealing with the virus. So you are not sure that body has learned to deal with it. So this prophylaxis for 1 month, I don't agree with it. Even in TB, BCG, even if you take BCG or if you are exposed to it, on one side virulence and number of bacilli on one side, immunity and hypersensitivity of against the bacilli is on the side. What dominates, you are going to get sick. That is what they follow. So virus, I don't think it will once, because incubation period is very short. Once a month, if you take it, that is not going to protect you. I don't agree with that. Means I will not take it personally.
Okay. Is Dr. Danson there? Dr. Danson Mutual is from Denmark. He's there from the beginning. Dr. Danson?
I think he's there. He has to unmute himself.
Yeah. Dr. Sabyasachi Patnaik. Hello.
Yes, sir.
You have been listening to both the talks. Your expert comments, please. And I think you are in the Health Ministry of Odisha.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please guide us.
No, Ivermectin has been prescribed as a prophylaxis for healthcare providers by the government also, with once a week dose. And coming back to the methylene blue discussion, I had also had this discussion by Dr. Kakadia, but I was not that much convinced as Dr. Namrata has told at that time. But today, with so many pulmonologists and general physician endorsing this, so I think it has a role. Then we should try this one, and it also seems very easy to use. Also, it's not very difficult to prepare and to use. So I think let us start doing this and see the result. What happens to us? Then it will be one experiment also. So this is my view, particularly for this methylene blue. And Ivermectin we are taking as a prophylaxis in Orissa. All the healthcare professionals are taking.
Yeah.
So if you, if you take 1 drop of methylene blue sublingual in the morning, you will not need tea or coffee for 24 hours. So even for that, you try. Forget about the COVID, but just try it. Single drop of methylene blue, 0.1% sublingual, and you will not need coffee or tea for 24 hours.
One proof I would like to give, in Bhavnagar, 30 lakh population, the case in detection rate has come down to 10. Yes, today's morning is 11 only patients were detected.
Oh, very good, very good.
Only 11. Since 15 days, the case detection is around 15 to 20. Today only I got a message from Health Minister for congratulating me for the bringing down the case detection rate in Bhavnagar to 20 only. He himself congratulated me. That with these efforts of Sanjay Paranspe, I had requested Dr. Kakre for the same, because he is I am advising. I just said that when anybody is saying that it doesn't work, attack on Bhavnagar, any spot, wherever, if I get a patient from any area, I ring him, I say that in this area, from this area, I got 2 patients at that area. He is sending the bottles to that area. Any surrounding villages also, if I get a patient from any village, small village, he is distributing, next day he is distributing bottles to that area. That's how we are attacking from wherever we are getting patients, they come to me. Or through newspaper, I come to know that the Shampara has 5 patients. Okay, next day I'll ask Sanjay Paranspe to send the bottles to that area. That's how we are bringing it down, and we have brought it down to today's case detection is 11% only. And Health Minister himself sent a congratulation to me for bringing down. So that's the proof it is working.
Can be placebo effect also, sir?
No, there is no, I strongly deny it.
Because psychologically.
No psychological effect. for ENT surgeon in last web seminar, I said that ENT surgeons are always worried about see placebo effect, the reversal of fibrosis. Do you have any medicine in the
No,
world?
that is correct. The X-ray shows reversal.
X-ray, this is one of the series. I have got hundreds of this type of patient. In one ENT surgeon, I had given a good news that they are worried about operating on a Cox lymphadenitis because the discharging sinus persists for 1.5 to 2 months. In this sinuses, if you drop, instill, if a patient comes with their I ask them to get operated. I instill just 5 to 10 drops into that wound and give a small bottle to that patient, that whenever the person will come for dressing, ask drop few drops into that wound. 7 days their healing takes place. Now it is not a placebo.
No.
Ask any ENT surgeon, he will be worried to operate in coccidioitis. And that placebo, it is not a placebo. And I am not using any kit. I am ready to.
Not even a mask. You are not using
Not
mask.
mask. I don't need anything. I am so much sure because I am using since 12 years.
Okay.
Tuberculosis, I started with tuberculosis. When I noticed that it has anti-infective property, it is not an one incident I will tell you that is very interesting. 3 patients it happened. Patients were, I was treating tuberculosis, asking them to come for nebulization regularly. They were coming. Then I stopped, noticed that they are not improving now. On inquiry, I came to know that they felt that they were quite better. They were symptom free. They had no problems. Then I realized they came to know that they have stopped taking medicines and they are taking. They felt that inhalation is good enough to treat their TB. I started again therapy and they improved. So it is then, I think it is the add-on therapy. It is an add-on therapy. It is not a therapy. But it works in that. Again, I started I said you have to take the tablets, you have to take anti-TB drugs, but along with that, this is an add-on therapy. It is a immunomodulator. It is working in different way, and then started and they recovered immediately. In patient, this thing has happened. So that is my. It is not a placebo therapy. And I will.
So ICMR should take up this as a study in multi-center studies.
That is up to them. I cannot. I have requested, but it is up to them.
Why ICMR? Any good medical college in the country should take a lead and devise a study. We are solo private practitioners. We do not have the institutional backup and the capacity to do the study, but we are just describing what we have found. And I request Dr. Namita Sharma to talk to Dr. Ranjit Guleria, who is a pulmonologist himself, and make a contact between Dr. Gulwalkar and Dr. Ranjit Guleria, who is the pulmonologist and the chief of AIMS. And if you can do just 20 patients, 30 patients pilot study at AIMS, it will open up a complete new venture, and I am sure that AIMS will receive Nobel Prize for 2021.
See, what Dr. Kakade always say that you must get Nobel Prize, but I got a very good explanation. Patients are coming to my clinic, and when they get improved, they say that you are a Bhagwan. I was talking to one of my brother-in-law. I said, why patients say that it is a feeling when you are drowning, you are underwater, you are suffocating, and when you can breathe, you feel as if someone has given you new life. That's what I said. Why every patient comes and says that you are Bhagwan, you are Bhagwan. So I was not wondering, because in TB patient, other patient I am treating, they said they are so much suffocating, they cannot breathe. And when you make them feel breathing, so that's why they call you Bhagwan. I said, I'm not Bhagwan, but I'm following whatever my guru had taught me. But that is what feeling they do have. And they are comfortable. So that is more than when they call me Bhagwan, or they are relieved or satisfied. That is more than enough for me, anything.
Yeah, Dr. Danson, can you come in? Dr. Danson Muttuvelu from Denmark. Dr. Satish said you have to say something.
Yes, sir. Because since Dr. Namita Sharma Madam is there on this panel, there was an AIMS group, which was a physician group, which had advised, say, Ivermectin prophylaxis for day 1 and day 7. So nowhere it has been mentioned anywhere that prophylaxis is for 1 month. It is on day 1 and day 7. It is even for the primary contacts. When a case is detected, the primary contacts of the family are given ivermectin on day 1 and then subsequently on day 7. Meanwhile, they can be tested, and if they are found negative, they can be still added on day 7. But Kakade sir was telling that in UK, because they have got 5 days a week, they were taking once in 5 days. Am I right, sir?
Right. That's true. In UK, almost all the surgeons and anesthetists and gynecologists, they are regularly taking ivermectin since the beginning of pandemic. Many of our friends who have migrated to UK taking me this feedback.
Since this was discussed on a AIMS group only, so Namrata madam should be aware of this.
Yeah, I am aware of this, and they have a fixed protocol they follow. Now, if I were to do the study, I would have definitely done it, and I would definitely do the study for corneal ulcer. Results are quite impressive. But I have forwarded, I've just now only while sitting, I forwarded the message to Dr. Anant Mohan, who's the head of the Department of Pulmonology, and let's see what he says. He's also a very close friend of mine. We know each other since childhood, so I know him very well. So I'll get back to all of you on this. And Anant Mohan, incidentally, was also the pulmonologist we had in our first webinar when we did on COVID. So let's see what he says, and if there is a possibility, I'm sure he can do. As far as funds are concerned, the funds for any COVID project are not a problem nowadays at all. Even Institute also is giving intramural funds for COVID-related projects. So even if we can do just a pilot study, I will move the one on corneal ulcers as was shown. Whichever way the results go, one should do the study and do it this way or that way. That, of course, I can assure that I will do it. But as far as the study related to the pulmonology is concerned, let me see what he says. Then I'll get back to you.
Yeah, Dr. Gololkar, you want to say something?
One patient had interstitial lung disease, rheumatoid RA positive, ANA positive, and she developed scleroderma. I was worried now, both autoimmune disorder she has developed now. I don't know to what extent I can help her. To my surprise, both things disappeared. RA turned negative. Even ANA, next time I tested it, turned negative. Now it is not a placebo. It is something astonishing finding I had. Even rheumatoid scleroderma disappeared, and interstitial fibrosis disappeared. It took 3 months only. Within 3 months, she is not coming to me. I had to call her. She said that I'm absolutely fine. I don't need any medicine. ANA turning negative, and scleroderma disappearing, and interstitial lung disease totally. It was a fresh patient, means recently detected. As I told you that the condition is that oxygen saturation after 20 meter walk test, how much it goes down and how much time it takes to recover. She was taking just 7-8 seconds to recover, come back to normal, and CT scan was suggestive, ANA was positive, and during treatment only she had developed scleroderma. But within 3 months she turned negative. I had to call her that I want your records now, I want your reports for presentation. If someone asks me for that only, otherwise this is the what I have observed. Now how do you explain it? No, placebo cannot do this thing.
So from your words, sir, it appears that corona is conquered. But
it can
not
be.
So,
yes,
Yes, sir, absolutely.
But not so from the words of WHO or ICMR or Government of India, anyone. So that's why that is the most conflicting thing about it.
That I don't know.
WHO and Government of India realizes things very late. No. Even the COVID identification itself was 3.5 months late. Lockdown was 2.5 months late. We should have only, see the Government of India, we should have locked only 21 international airports as early as February 15th. If February 15th we had locked all international airports, the corona would not have entered into India. But we locked down on 25th of March. So the government has its own speed of working.
My
But
desire
we are
was,
ready, me and Dr. Golwalkar, I mean, Dr. Golwalkar, not me, I'm just an ophthalmologist.
my
We
desire
are
was,
ready to invite you. You please come to Bhavnagar at our expense. We will host you for 10 days in the best hotel in Bhavnagar, the 5-star or 4-star. And we show you the results. Of course, now we won't be able to show you the result because the patient will be nil within a week or 10 days time. But you please invite us to your pocket of COVID. Wherever there is rampant COVID, we too will come. And in your presence, under your observation, we treat and we make a certain area which you specify negative within 10 days. We will come at our expense, we will stay at our expense in your state, or whoever invites us, we will come there and treat. Me, Dr. Golwalkar and Sanjay Paranjape, 3 of us are ready to travel, and Dr. R.C. Shah. 4 of us will come, and maybe Satish also. We will come with our UV device and with our methylene blue and negativize your entire city within 10 days at our expense. That's our open invitation or open challenge. You can come to Bhavnagar or you can call us to your place.
I think Kakadia sir, we all will come to Bhavnagar itself. Make sure that you just organize 3 or 4 rooms in the 5-star or 7-star hotel.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Will also join.
Absolutely, it will be our pleasure. आपके जैसे बड़े-बड़े मेहमान हमारे यहाँ कब आए? छोटा सा शहर है हमारा तो.
नहीं हम बिल्कुल आएंगे सर.
श्रीनिवास को क्वारंटाइन कर देंगे आपको क्वारंटाइन. We will quarantine you in 5-star hotel.
Basically, he wants to shift to corona-free area now.
So,
that is the reason.
I think it's now almost 9:41. So here we come to the end of this fantastic, one of the few fantastic webinars we had across in this pandemic times. So on behalf of our founder chairman, Dr. Amulya Sahu, and our today's moderator and the Karta of today's webinar, Dr. Boramani, and our Vice Chairman, Dr. Parikshit Gogode, our Chief National Coordinator, Dr. Satanshu Mathur, and on behalf of President ISMSICS, Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya, I thank each and every one of you for being here and making a wonderful discussion. Special thanks to our expert panel, Dr. Namrata Sharma Madam. Just to say a few words about her, I think she must have been very sincere since the school days. Sincerely attending all the schools, and at present I'm seeing her in most of the webinars being from the start till the end.
Start to end, yes.
So she still maintains those school days. I think she receives an award for the highest attending hours in any webinar.
Srinivas, may I add one thing? Dr. Danson is here from Denmark. He was asked by Dr. Boramani. Dr. Danson is here. Yeah, please.
Let Dr. Danson have his say, because 2-3 times we called him. He was busy. Dr. Danson Muthuri, please.
You can unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, please have your comments, please.
Thank you. It was very interesting to be here for today's seminar. And
please unmute yourself.
Oh yes, sorry.
Yeah.
And I think it was very interesting to learn about the country. Some of the things we've talked about today is something that's not practiced in most of Europe. But I think the trials that are going on is going to reveal some efficacy for methylene blue and other techniques as well. So I think it's good to discuss these topics and overall come up with new methods, being innovative in the things we do.
Okay, I think he's...
Please unmute yourself.
Yeah.
I may not, it's not going clear?
Yeah,
it's coming. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I think in that way, I think it has been a very great seminar. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for joining. Yeah. Dr. Srinivas, please continue.
Joining us today. And finally, I would like to thank the speakers. I don't know whether vaccine is going to come first or Jagdeep sir is going to break the corona jargon here. But definitely we are all looking for it, sir. I really thank Dr. Jagdeep Kakadia, Dr. Deepak Golwalkar, and Dr. Ramesh Shah, who brought in, you just opened the Pandora's box. And so many questions still remains in the minds of many people. I think with more and more such webinars, each and every point will get cleared very, 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 very soon. And we had a fantastic list of panel here. Dr. Prakash Marathe from Maharashtra, another innovator, Dr. Satish Sheth, who is also in the team and who also happens to be my close senior. Thank you, Dr. Satish Sheth. We are same from Hubli city, and I'm proud that he is also into Dr. Kakadia's team, along with Dr. Shah and Dr. Deepak, and doing a lot of innovative work. And I thank Dr. Carla Pamela from Mexico, and Miguel Sarabia from Philippines, and Dr. Purendra Basin from Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Indramohan Rustogi, Secretary ISM-SICS from Haryana, Dr. Andika Prahasta is another person along with Dr. Namrata Madam who has been throughout in this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Andika, for joining from Indonesia. And we also have Dr. Sabyasachi Patnaik, who have been asking very good question, very practical questions he asked at the end, and I hope that Jagdish sir answered that very well. And lastly, I would like to thank Dr. Danson again for being with us in most of the ISM-SICS hosted webinars. And I think we come to the end of this. Anything you can just talk about, we can just stop the recording. For all the viewers here, it was a great evening with a lot of discussions. Hope we sleep with most of these things tonight, and have a great night. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Intro also.
Yeah.
Srinivas, I would like to interrupt for a minute.
No ISM-SICS webinars are as successful as conducted by the Entod Pharmaceuticals. So we owe a great thanks to their team led by Mr. Masurkar, Nikhil, and Rohit, Raman, and Rahul. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dr. Kakade, please.
Yeah, I got a figure from Dr. Advocate Sanjay Paranjpe that he and his team have distributed 3 lakh bottles of 200 ml methylene blue in various parts of India, wherever they could reach. So that's a phenomenal work. Distributing 3 lakh bottles of 200 ml methylene blue free of cost and mobilizing resources for that is phenomenal work.
Methylene blue is also available as a homeopathic medicine. It shows in the
yes, sir. It's a part of the Materia Medica.
Yes.
John F. Clark's Materia Medica mentions 5 or 6 pages about methylene.
So before homeopaths claim that it is their way of treatment, we must claim it.
Fine, sir. Yes, sir.
Ji, sir.
It will go on, sir. A whole night it will go on.
Yes, yes.
And those who are interested can stay back. And I think let's say a good night to the rest of the people who want to carry on. Thank you very much, and wonderful webinar, Kakadia sir, Deepak sir, and Dr. Shah and Dr. Sheth. You did a wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Srinivas,
yes, sir.
Srinivas, I would like to add something. To all the panelists, Dr. Srinivas Joshi is the blue-eyed boy of Hubli Dharwad Ophthalmic Association. And now he will move on to become ARC chairman. And one fine day we'll be seeing him as the secretary of the AIOS.
So before that, okay, I will quit. Namrata madam is all smiling here.
One incident, 4 days back only, one lady came to me regarding good night sleep. She came and gave me thanks. I said, what for you are giving thanks to me? She said that you are insisted my husband to take methylene blue. The day he started taking it, he has stopped snoring. I can sleep quietly.
So this is another advantage of taking. So those who are having sleep apnea.
Yes, yes. So when you put, this is my experience, when I put the nasal drops, within 15 to 20 minutes, the nose becomes so clear, so much unchoked.
Decongestant effect.
So much easy to breathe.
So it has less side effects and more side benefits.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all of you.
Very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Noor.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
madam.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Sahu wants to say something. Your audio is not clear.
Sir, audio is not coming.
Your audio is not coming.
Your audio. Just unmute yourself, sir.
No, he's
Unmuted.
Already unmuted.
is unmuted.
बोलो sir.
Can't hear.
आवाज नहीं आ रहा है. We can't hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Now yes sir. Yes sir.
Yeah, Namrata has been always kind to us.
Thank you, sir, for all the pleasure.
So that's why I keep saying AIOS is in the safe hands.
And Sabyasachi, you take up the challenge Kakadia has given you.
Yes, sir.
And then Odisha is now suffering from COVID a lot. So do something, take up one sector and focus on that.
Okay, sir. Let me start first and then I will propagate this message.
Right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thank you, Danson. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ransom.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.